is suing defendant Chris Bumgardner for vandalism after his 16-year-old son damaged her car.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2101, Lawson versus Bumgardner.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ms. Larson, it is your claim that the defendant's son, I assume that's this young man over here, vandalized your car. And he vandalized your car by smashing in a side mirror.
Yes, ma'am.
Which required you to be without a car for a day while they fixed it. So you want his father, who was actually present at the time, to pay for the damage.
Yes, ma'am.
From what I gather, this happened on Father's Day, which was June 19th
Yes.
of this year, and you were going over to visit your father
Yes.
for Father's Day. Stand up.
Chris's son rises.
What I gather from your complaint, was he sleeping?
Yes, he was.
Okay. Some sort of an altercation happened, which you'll tell me about in a moment. His father was called.
Yes, ma'am.
His father came. This kerfuffle continued, and when they were on their way out, this young man, whose name is?
Caden Bumgardner?
Caden.
Caden
smashed in your passenger mirror, and his father says, well, he actually saw him do that, but it was just pushing in the window, the mirror, and really all you had to do was pull it out, and it would have been fine.
Right.
That's your defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's start out when you arrived at your father's house. What time?
I arrived at my father's about, I would say, about 11:15.
Okay. What happened?
And it woke up Caden in the process. Caden got upset.
What did he say? How did you know he was upset?
He started screaming and pretty much saying, why the heck are you coming in here, waking everybody up? You have no right to.
Okay.
And then after that, Caden got up and started yelling, started punching the walls, screaming. My father went in there, and then his father, Chris, ended up getting called to come get Caden.
How far do you live from where Miss Larson's father lived?
About 7 miles away.
How old is your son?
He's 16.
Is he the oldest one of your children, in the middle?
The youngest.
Any other children at home other than him?
No, ma'am.
So he's the baby and he's home?
Yes.
Who sets the rules for him?
Well, I do.
Where did you think he was going?
No, I knew he was over they had something to do for Mother's Day, and then they had
That was
another-
Father's Day.
Well, I know, but I'm saying for the entire
Well, Mother's Day is in May, Father's Day is in June.
But they
usually
something-
don't have
they had
carryovers.
something planned, I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, he was over there.
Times have changed, life has changed. The only time you got to sleep outside your house when I was growing up was when you were outside in a pine box or a white dress. That was it. Those were your choices.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the way you could leave your parents' house, right? I chose the dress. All right. Now, Caden, I'm going to come around to you because, you know, we're not talking about somebody losing 2 pints of blood or somebody losing a finger.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to wake up a teenager at 11:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I'm usually ready for dinner at 11:30 in the morning. But teenagers, you know, they're still growing, so they sleep late. But you were particularly annoyed when Miss Larson came in, right?
Yes.
Why?
Well, she did put it the right way, but she didn't put it the right way because...
But just to tell me why.
Well,
Don't look at her. Talk to me.
She didn't just wake her up. She came in there loud.
When she walked in, Caden, to a room in her father's house, what did she say? And tell me in what tone of voice she said it.
She said it in like a excited voice, but not like a mad voice, excited voice.
All right, and that got you mad.
No, that's not what got me mad. I didn't
What got you mad?
By the time I could even finish my sentence, she's already busted in through the door and was in my face saying, you got something to say to me.
Just a second. You're not following me. She came in, and the first thing you said was she was talking too loud, and I want to know what you said to her.
I didn't say nothing to her.
Nothing.
Nothing. I didn't even look at her.
And then she left, so...
She cussed at me, but then she walked in there and she later said...
Who cussed at you?
Her. And then she later said
Well,
that
just
she
a
was
second. I didn't get to that part, that she cussed at you. If you didn't say anything to her, what would she cuss at you?
Because she got a phone call from her saying that she wants me to get ran out of the house. That's how this all started.
Just a second. Oh, that's a different story. Okay, so what you're saying to me is you believe that she came over for the purpose of getting you out of the house.
I believe so, yes. Because that's what I got told.
Well, let us assume for a moment that's true. That would sound right to me. Get him out of the house. It's 11:30 in the morning on Father's Day. We want to have a party here. Get him out of the house. That would sound right on the money Tout moi. Right on the money. I mean, if that's what it was about. So I don't care if that's what it was about or not. Okay. Your father comes. What happened when you got there, sir?
When I showed up, I went to the door, I knocked on it, they answered the door, it was pretty chaotic.
Look at me.
It was pretty chaotic.
Describe what chaotic is.
Okay, there was a bunch of yelling and screaming going on between Kate and my son and the plaintiff.
And Miss Larson.
Miss Larson, yes. And I told my son, I said, hey, you just need to step outside and let me figure out what's going on here, and I'll be right out. I tried to talk to Mark. Mark come out of the room.
Who's Mark?
That's the father. He was being very disrespectful, he said, and he said he wanted him to leave. I said, okay, that's no problem. I'll get him
Just
out
a
of here.
second. The father came out of the room and said, I want Caden to leave.
Right.
And did he leave?
When I come and got him, we left. Yes, we did.
And he walked out the front door.
Yes, he did.
And when he walked out the front door, he passed the plaintiff's car.
Yes, I believe so.
What do you mean? You wrote it in your answer, sir.
Yes, I
so
did.
the answer
Yes,
is
I did.
yes.
Yes.
And you saw him do what to the mirror?
Caption coming up.
Don't minimize
Well, I'm
what he
not
did. I would have slapped him upside the head if I saw him take his hand and knock off somebody's mirror. I really didn't mean that. I don't believe in corporal punishment.
Amen.
And later today,
What do you think that I think of a person who says, okay, I'll go with you to this very, very sad time? Someone who I've been close and intimate with for months, but it's going to cost you $900.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Morgan, Chris, and Caden.
Morgan Larson claims Chris Bumgardner's 16-year-old son, Caden, vandalized her car.
Now, you saw him do what to the mirror?
Push it in.
Okay, very good. Now, do you have photographs of the pushed-in mirror?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, one moment.
Just for my own curiosity, you knew that it was wrong for him to touch that mirror.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if what you say is he just pushed the mirror in and all it had to do was be, you believe, to be clicked out?
I believe to be
just,
clicked out.
Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you say to him, don't touch somebody else's property? That's what this is all about.
Well, I
Your
believe I
temper.
did say that to him.
Just
I
a
said,
second.
Don't put your
Well,
hands.
then why didn't you pull out the mirror if that's all it was? If you say the only thing
because
wrong
she
with the
was
mirror is
coming
that it has to be pulled out, why didn't you do that? You didn't see him touch the mirror.
No, I did not.
You were there.
She was right behind us.
She didn't see it. You saw it. So my only question to you is, if you saw it and it was that minor thing, and you know what it is, either you can click the mirror in and then you pull it out. I'm always afraid to click it out that I'm going to break it.
Exactly.
You're not suggesting that anybody else touched this mirror to damage it. No. Okay, let's see.
Kevin brings photos to Judy, who reviews them.
What did he use on the mirror, sir? What did he use to hit the mirror?
I believe it was his hand.
When you say you believe it was his hand, did you see what was in his hand?
He had nothing in his hand.
Did his hand get bloody?
No.
Okay, Kevin, would you turn these over to the defendant, please, and get from the plaintiff an estimate for the damage?
Kevin shows the photos to Chris.
That's not what.
Well, they ripped it off there.
Well, yeah, clearly, because that's not what it looked like when I seen. Because when he walked by, he just simply,
Okay.
And I said, now, Caden, that's enough.
Chris returns the photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy.
So you had a $500 deductible on your insurance,
Yes, I did.
and you had it fixed.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you paid $442.74. Good. How long did it take them to fix it?
I would say about a month with the parts being on back order. And I
Oh, but
couldn't-
you had the use of the car all that time?
No.
Oh, of course you did. Okay, just want to see what you have for a car rental.
Your Honor, I don't understand this car rental part of it. I've been without a mirror before.
Sir, you're not allowed to drive without two mirrors.
Then there was one in the cab as well. That's two mirrors, isn't it?
I don't know what you're asking me, sir, because at some point you just have to take the car, and let's say it takes a day once you get the parts. At some point you have to take the car in and you're without a car for a day. Well, then you can either be without a car for a day or you can rent a car for a day. I'm not giving her a rental for a month. I'm not crazy. You know, there's a certain amount of inconvenience that one endures when somebody else vandalizes a piece of their property. And that's part of the punishment.
Well, I understand.
Yeah, I'm glad you understand. Don't minimize
Well,
what he
I'm
did.
not
I would have
I'm-
slapped him upside the head if I saw him take his hand and knock off somebody's mirror. I really didn't mean that. I don't believe in corporal punishment.
Amen.
I don't think you needed 15 days to fix this.
I didn't think so either.
Well, I certainly don't think so. But you're entitled to a day's car rent. So I put that down as $200, including everything, $642.74. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Chris, then Morgan.
I didn't think that I needed to pay the whole $1,300 out of pocket.
I'm just glad someone finally held them accountable for what they did.
The mirror, I was walking past it and just hit it. Bam, you know what I mean?
I finally am getting reimbursed for the money I had to pay.
I knew what I was doing, and when I did it, I did regret it after I did it, you know what I mean?
I feel like some people need to control their children better.
Judy and Sarah.
It's also a sign of the times that this father did not own up to what he saw.
I will say he was on the more responsible side of parents than some that we've seen here. He said, I said, Caden, what are you doing? This is not how you act. This is not how you behave. So that I almost appreciated. But he didn't take it as far as you or I would have liked.
As far as knock at the door, I know this is hot, my son did something wrong, I'm going to pay for it.
Yep.
Whatever it is. I have to come into the 21st century kicking and screaming.
I'll try and help you as much as I can.
Thanks.
Kevin.
Case 2105, Davey versus Miller. All parties, please step forward.
Melissa Davey is suing her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Miller, for an unpaid loan.
Mr. Miller, I think I'm going to start with you today, just because I have to kind of shake it up for myself. Otherwise, I get stale. You and Miss Davey were sort of in a relationship for a brief period of time.
Yes, Judge.
Never lived together.
No.
There came a time when you wanted a new car. Not a new car, but a better car.
Yes.
You wanted a better car because you wanted to use that car as a driver for Uber.
Yes.
And you needed a down payment.
Yes.
And according to what I've read from Miss Davey, and what you seem to acknowledge in your answer, Miss Davey loaned you $1,200.
That is correct.
Things didn't work out, which happens. You paid her back $300.
Yes.
Did not pay her back $900.
Correct.
So that would make it easy, except that you have a defense.
Correct.
And I'm going to let you tell me and the rest of the world what that defense is and show the world what a prince of a guy you are.
I hope I can do that.
You're no longer together.
Correct.
You owe her $900.
No.
Well, you just acknowledged that you paid her $3 and you owed $9 because she gave you $12.
I owed $9.
I said at that point you owed $9. You're no longer together.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I misheard you then.
Okay. Well, I sympathize with that because I do a lot of mishearing myself. But what I said to you was, at the time you broke up, you owed her $900.
That is correct.
Now you're going to pick it up from there and tell me and the rest of the world what your defense is. Because I read it. I just want to hear it from you.
All right. At the time of our breakup, you are correct. I did owe Miss Davies $900 and had told her that I would continue to pay on the debt that was owed.
Okay, and what was the month and year of your breakup?
End of April, maybe?
End of May.
End of May?
May.
Okay, end of May, broke up, owing $900. And you said?
I tried to be cordial and have conversations periodically with Miss Davies, and they did not go well. And then Miss Davies had to put her...
No. You tried to have conversations with her with a view towards what?
Just to reassure her that I was going to pay her back the rest of the money.
Okay, so she would call you and say, where's my money?
No, I would send her a text and kind of chat, and then I would give her a quick call and say hello, and we would have just a little chat every now and then, just to remind her that, hey, I will pay you back the money.
That sounds so off, Mr. Miller. People don't usually call an ex-girlfriend who they owe $900 to and say, hey, by the way, I know I'm going to pay you back the money, I just need a little time. That usually comes from the other side contacting them and saying, I would like my money.
Typically, you are correct that most people, if you owe the money, you don't contact the person that is owed the money. I didn't want her to do that. I didn't want to have her come to me and be like, hey, where is my money?
Okay, so you break up the end of May. Did you give her any money in June?
I gave her one in April and one in July of $154.
So at the time that you broke up, you had only given her $150.
Correct.
Later on, she kept bothering you. You were reassuring her. And in July, you gave her another $150.
Correct.
Keep going. I still get $900.
Caption coming up.
Where does it say she's forgiven your debt?
The very top one, I believe it says you won't have to pay for a thing.
No.
And that was...
No. Miller, this doesn't say she's forgiven your debt.
Melissa grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Melissa and Joseph.
Melissa Davy claims her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Miller, owes for an unpaid loan.
I still get $900.
In July, she had to put her dog down. And
That was in mid-July?
I believe, yeah, about the,
July 11th.
So you'd already given her the other 150.
yeah, and
So she called you and said,
she sent me a message that said, hey, you know, I'm gonna do this. So I called and she's like, hey, I'd really, really like you there.
I can't, the last couple of words you just sort of muttered, sir. I don't know
apologize.
why you sort of muttered them. She called you and said,
I would really love to have you there. I don't want to do this alone. I would really appreciate if you would come.
okay. And did you think of that as a reasonable request?
Yes and no.
Okay. Did you agree to go?
After we
No.
talked,
I want you to tell me what she said and what you said.
she said that she would do anything.
No. I really want you to go. And this is on the phone. That's what you told me. This was on the phone.
Yes.
So you didn't say that she could see on the phone. She said, I'd really like you to go. And you said what?
I think that could be worked out.
Okay. I think that could be worked out.
Yes.
And then what's the next thing that was said and by whom?
I believe she said that I would do anything to have you there. I don't want to do this alone.
Well, you told me that before. After she said, I really don't want to do this alone. I would really like you to be there with me.
And I said-
And you said, that could be, what did he say? That,
He said, okay, I think that could be worked out.
I think that could be worked out. Okay, so that's what you said. And then who said something after that?
She said that she would do that
She already
would,
said she would do
yeah,
anything.
she
Yeah.
would even relieve my debt.
She said that, or did you?
She said that.
She said it.
Yes.
Okay, because that's what his answer was here. And so then you said to her, fine, I'll go with you. And you went with her, and you spent 3-4 hours there while the unfortunate business of an end of life for a beloved pet takes place. And prince that you are, you relieved yourself of the $900 that you owed her.
Yes.
Just for my own information, how long did you and Miss Davy date or have a relationship? A month, 2 months, 3 months?
4 months.
4 months. Did you get close?
Tried.
Both of you or just she?
Both.
So you tried to make it a warm, close, intimate relationship.
As best we could, yes.
And when you needed some help, she offered to help you.
Correct.
What do you think that I think of a person who understands the word close, warm, affectionate? What do you think that I think of a person who says, okay, I'll go with you through this very, very sad time? Someone who I've been close and intimate with for months, so I'm going to spend a couple of hours in the afternoon with you at this very tough time, but it's going to cost you $900, which is in effect exactly what you said, but it's going to cost you $900. Let us assume that I believe you, a reasonable ex-boyfriend who wanted to be, as you said, I didn't want her to have to come and chase me. I wanted to assure her. So a reasonable ex-boyfriend would say, sure, I'll keep you company.
In theory, yes. There were circumstances when Miss Davies and I broke up that were not the best for either of us. And it wasn't a cordial breakup. It was very rocky. At the time when she called and asked me to come, I didn't want to speak to her at all.
I would have respected that, sir. You say, this was very rocky, it was nasty, we don't really like each other anymore, or I don't like you anymore. I don't know how she feels about you, and it's really not something that I want to do. I don't want to be involved with that. I could actually understand that if it was acrimonious, as you say. What I can't understand is somebody saying, I'll go with you, but it's going to cost you $900. That's what I don't understand.
Well, she brought that up. She was the one that stated that she would relieve the debt. And I was like, okay, whatever. So
Okay, Miss Davy, now it's up to you. Now I have been grilling Mr. Miller, so I have only one question to you. Do you remember the conversation when you discussed with him going with you to the vet?
Yes, I have it in text.
I'd like to see it.
Judge,
Speak not.
Okay.
Unless you have the text messages.
This is the date I called to make the vet appointment.
Kevin brings Melissa's phone to Judy, who examines it.
Sarah, can you tell me what dates these are?
Sure. If you go out, these were all Saturday, July 9th, and if you pull over, you can see the time.
Judy continues to examine the phone.
Well, I'm looking at all these, and I don't see anything about her saying to you, if you come with me, I'll forgive your debt. So if you have one of those, I'll take a look at it.
The very top one. That was after a phone conversation with Miss Davies?
Just a second. Where does it say she's forgiven your debt?
The very top one, I believe it says you won't have to pay for a thing.
No.
And that was...
No. Miller, you know what I'm talking about, sir. She tells you to keep your gas receipts. So if you're coming to help her, it's not going to cost you anything out of pocket. This doesn't say she's forgiven your debt. You have family, you have siblings, parents, anything?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they're going to be disappointed in you, Mr. Miller, because it's not princely activity. It was clear to me from reading the plaintiff's notes to you that at least it appeared that she was struggling more with the end of your relationship than you were. That's just what it appears. And I'm a pretty good judge of that. And you sound like an intelligent man, soulless, but yet intelligent. So if you have any emotion whatsoever, you can look at this and say, this is a lady who's sort of struggling. Let me see how I can take advantage of that. I owe her $900. And I'm going to figure out that if I do this for her and it's really important, I shouldn't have to pay her back the $900. Unprincely, Mr. Miller. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Joseph and Melissa.
People just sometimes don't agree.
It was very clear cut.
At the time, I was very upset with her.
I think he tried his best to just keep things cordial.
Move on and move forward.
Another wonderful relationship that's hopefully will not end up in court.
Sarah and Judy.
It intrigues me how men can make the jump from keep your gas receipts to you don't have to pay me your $900 debt. We read the messages and we were unclear as to what debt forgiveness in the messages. We didn't see it. He handed us the exact same text that we had read on her phone. He said, yeah, that's what that means.
I think he knew what it meant, because if you checked out his smirk when he handed me just that one piece of paper, he knew that when he says, keep your gas receipts, I don't want it to cost you anything to come with her to the vet, having nothing to do with the $900 debt. Oh, it's just amazing to me that after 27 years of doing this here, I have to do a breakdown of about 90% of the cases involve women who are giving money to boyfriends and then get left holding the bag, as opposed to the 10% of men who get caught up with situations where women are prepared to take advantage of them. But most of the time, it's women. I don't know, I think it all has to do with self-esteem, Sarah, and I think that the only way to ensure that you have that is having a way to support yourself.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to judyjustice.tv. Nancy Kesselman is suing her son, Danny Horath, and his fiancée, Trinity Wilson, for living expenses, stolen property, and vet bills.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2049, Councilman versus Jorge Watson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Horath, this is your mother,
Yes, ma'am.
and this is your girlfriend.
My fiance, yes, ma'am.
Is she divorced?
She's widowed.
Since when?
June 6th,
Of what year?
2022.
Well, let me understand this. Prior to you being a widow, you were involved with Mr. Horath. Were you divorced?
I was going through a divorce.
Okay. And then he passed away.
Yes.
Mr. Horath, in 2013, you were incarcerated. How long?
5 years.
And you have two little girls.
Yes, ma'am.
When you were incarcerated, were the children living with you
No.
prior to being incarcerated?
Yes.
They were living with you?
Yes.
When you went to prison, was there any reason the children didn't go with their mother?
She left him with my mother.
So your mother obtained custody of your children 9 years ago
Yes.
and raised them.
Yes.
You got out of prison when?
September 2017.
And when you got out of prison, your mother invited you to come and live in the house?
Yes.
In her house?
Yes, ma'am.
Who else lives in her house?
My grandmother.
Who I understand from these papers is suffering from
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. So your mother was taking care of her mother and your two daughters.
Yes.
So your fiance now, who looks as if she's expecting a child, was your mother's next door neighbor?
Yes.
And you became involved with her when?
End of October 2020, or 19, I'm sorry.
And when you became involved with her, you have two children.
Yes.
You invited her with your mother's permission to move in to your mother's house with her two children.
Yes, ma'am.
We did agree that she could move in and stay in the guest.
Had you been living in the house by yourself with the two girls?
Yes, I have.
How large a house is it?
It's pretty good, decent size. It's a
It was 1,980 square feet, now expanded out another 800 feet, so quite. 5 bedrooms, 3 baths.
How do you support yourself?
I own my own business. I'm a nurse. Due to the fact of taking care of my granddaughters and my parents at the time, I had to resign from Fort Irwin, working there because of couldn't commit to the hours. So because of that, I went ahead and got my own business of doing home infusions, and that started right before the pandemic. And so I work a lot.
Anybody help you take care before they moved in? Anybody help you take care of the girls and your mother?
No, it was me.
Now, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a truck driver.
And you?
Nursing student and mother.
So you don't work?
No.
How do you support yourself?
I was going to school and...
Well, supporting yourself doesn't go into school unless you were getting money for going to school. Were you getting money for going to school?
Yes.
From whom?
From financial aid.
How much?
Maybe like $800, $900 a month. And this was before I was living with Danny and Nancy.
And after you moved in with Danny and Nancy?
I was helping her take care of her mother, and her VA was paying me to take care of her.
She was getting the Veterans Aid and attendance. I gave her that extra money to help out with my mom and those expenses.
And then currently, I'm taking care of our young son we have together.
So you have a child together and expecting another one?
Yes.
So then you'll have 4 children, correct? Yes. And you will have 4 children?
I will have 4 children, yes.
Sounds as if your mother did some very nice things for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds as if Miss Castleman did some very nice things for you.
Yes.
Why do you think she's suing you?
Out of anger.
Mr. Horath, why would she be angry at either one of you?
Because we decided that we were going to go ahead off and do our own thing, and she was no longer included in being part of that.
Like what?
Well, being part of a family or a unit. Once my grandmother's health declined and she went to a facility, there was no more communication about anything that was going on around the house anymore.
I don't know what you mean by that. Your fiance's arrangement was that she was being paid by the VA to take care of your grandmother.
Yes.
And then your grandmother, according to you, had to go into a facility.
Yes.
Which means your fiance isn't getting any more payment from the VA.
Correct.
Now, you're working, you drive a truck.
Yes.
Were you contributing towards the running of the household?
Oh, of course, yes.
How much?
Whatever needed to be paid.
No. Tell me what you paid.
I paid the Edison, half the Edison.
Well, that's not a set amount.
I paid $300 a month.
Well, that's an amount. So you paid $300 a month towards the Con Edison.
Yes, ma'am.
What else did you pay?
We paid for the trash.
How much was the trash?
$50 a month.
What else?
I paid for the food.
For who?
For our family.
Well, for all of you or just for you, your fiance, and the 4 children?
And my grandmother, yes, and my grandmother, and Nancy, too.
Not for me.
Shh.
Speak. She would come over and have dinner with us quite often. And I would make her meals and send them to her. What
you're saying is, because I read when you said she would come over for dinner, there came a time when there were an awful lot of people living in the house, and your mother, because it was so crowded, moved into a trailer on the premises, and you moved into the master suite.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Say thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Now, did you pay for anything else that you're not telling me?
Yes, we paid for the internet.
Their internet?
Yes.
Shh. For your own internet?
Yes.
I'm talking about expenses for the house. I assume the mortgage was paid off. Is that what you wrote here?
Danny did pay for the property taxes.
Okay. Well, then that was my next question. Property taxes. Did you pay for any of that?
Yes.
How much did you pay?
It was $1,264 a year.
Anything else?
Remodeling expenses that we did to the home.
I know it was expanded, and it was expanded after you were there.
Yes.
Yes. And do you know how much the remodeling expenses were?
The additions were done before I came home, but everything else was added to when we were living there.
Like what?
The pellet stove had went out, so we bought a new one.
Oh, that's I'm not interested.
Okay.
I'm not interested in that. I'm talking about regular. So let me get to my trusty computer. We have $300 a month for Con Ed. So I don't even have to do that. I could do 1, 2, 6, 4. Everybody knows me now. I'm a little challenged with regard to these things. Divided by 12 equals $105 a month. And $300 a month for Con Ed and $50 for trash is $5. So you paid in total the expenses that you told me, $455 a month for living in a 5-bedroom house. I'm just setting the stage for this. You paid $455 a month for living in a 5-bedroom house, and your mother moved out to live in a trailer so that you could be in the master suite with your fiance, a new baby, and one on the way. Those are the objective facts that I have.
Okay.
Now, so I asked you, because your mother is suing for a lot of stuff, and I don't understand why somebody would take this approach when she was nothing but good to both of you. You screwed up your life. She got stuck raising your 2 children, working full-time, and taking care of a sick mother. You go to school, and you're a full-time mother, but that's very nice, but she's not your mother, she's not your grandmother, she's nobody to you. And she took you in and your 2 children. What do you think you did to make her so angry that she would sue you? I'm curious.
I honestly don't know.
Well, you started to tell me that you moved on because she ultimately gave you notice to leave.
We actually gave her notice we were leaving, and that's when all that started.
Okay. Did you also tell your mother that you wanted to buy the house?
Yes, I did.
From her?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, that started the trouble. And your mother's response was?
Of course. She said, okay.
And what happened?
I went and applied for a loan. They told me that I did not meet the criteria for the loan. I said, okay, that's fine. What about a rent-to-own option to buy? And she said, okay. We tried to get a real estate agent to go ahead and write out the contract. At that point in time, she wanted to move one of her nurses onto the property, into the trailer that she was living in. I did not feel comfortable with a stranger living on our property. I don't know them. I don't want them around my children. I don't know who they are. And if I'm going to be buying a home, I wouldn't want to.
You're not buying anything. You were renting.
With the option to buy. I want to buy the home, and then when I go back to apply for the loan in a year, I was going to buy the home.
Maybe, maybe not. Mr. Horath, so far, you see, you have somebody who has done all things to make your life, which you screwed up a little bit, more comfortable. Takes you in, takes your girls in, takes your girlfriend in, takes your girlfriend's kids in, allows you to have more latitude and more freedom by moving herself out of her own home, which is totally paid off, into a trailer so that you could be more comfortable. And she said, you want to buy the house? Fine. You couldn't get a loan. Well, could I rent to buy? She says, okay. But she's still a working person, as opposed to your fiancé.
Caption coming up.
You ratified the gift by buying her something that could only be utilized with that machine. So I'm not interested in the machine. Could we move forward, please? I have 7 years of postgraduate education. I'm getting very tired of this case.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Nancy, Danny, and Trinity.
Nancy Castleman claims her son, Danny Horath, and his fiancée, Trinity Watson, owe for living expenses and stolen property. Danny and Trinity say they always paid their share of the bills.
Okay. Now, she's still a working person, and she said, I would like to move one of my nurses. She's not talking about moving in some sex offender into a trailer next to her grandchildren, who she's raised. So I wouldn't see what your problem is with that, but that's neither here nor there. So that started an acrimonious separation. I'm not going to rent the house because I'm not going to allow you to move somebody that I don't know. I'm not even going to meet them. Somebody that I don't know into the trailer. Where are you living now?
We have our own home now.
Where?
Because we didn't agree with, we didn't want to live with her nurse, so we went.
Just a second. I said the question is, where is your own home?
In Hellendale.
Is that where she lives?
Near.
How near?
10 miles up the road.
And when did you move there?
July 14th.
How big a house?
It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath.
Who owns the house?
We're renting.
And how much are you paying in rent?
$2,500.
So you got a smaller house at 5 times what you were paying her. Is that what I'm hearing? You paid $455 monthly to your mother.
We also paid her van payment, but we
What?
also used the van. Her van payment, it was $900 a month.
Did you use the van?
Yes.
Good. Then you,
Well,
good.
we used it to also take her mother to.
Did you use the van
Yes.
for you and your children and his children?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. So I want to know if she's right down the road and she was good to you for a decade, why is she not included with your family anymore?
She chose not to be.
Really?
Yeah, she wants to work all the time. When we invite her to do things or family functions or church functions, she would never come.
Well, you say never. You just moved out a month ago.
This is prior to us moving out. We haven't talked to her since we moved.
You mean prior to you moving out, you would invite her?
Oh, yeah.
And what you said was, could you read that back? She's working all the time? Is that, I just want to know if that's what he said.
He said, yeah, she wants to work all the time. When we invite her to do things or church functions, she would never come.
Okay. Unpaid living expenses, electric bill. All right, let's get to the electric bill. He said he paid $300 a month. What does he owe for the electric bill and for what months?
I was on a level pay plan for every month, and it went up higher. The rates have increased in the past year. So that was $900. It was $1,800, the bill that came out. So it actually increased over the last year, and I have copies of that. So I asked for them to pay half.
Did they ever pay the extra money?
No.
Okay. And they continue to live there?
That just came up in May, yes.
Okay, well, then I'm not interested in that. Go ahead.
And
what else? What other living expenses?
Well, the other electric bill, they were still there. They didn't pay for that one.
Which
was
one?
The one from June to July.
Were you there in June, July?
Yes, ma'am. And I have evidence that I did pay.
Okay, I'd like to see it.
Paid $3, not the whole amount.
No, I did pay.
Just let me see that you paid it.
Danny produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
June 19th, $600.
That was not for this electric bill. It was for the,
No, that was for Edison.
It says Con Edison.
Yes.
There was another bill that still needed. It was like $723.
I don't care.
That he owed me
I
for.
don't care. He paid $600 in June of 2022. You have vet bills here and personal items taken without permission. And the personal items taken without permission, you took some of her things. What did you take that didn't belong to you?
Nothing.
Well, you acknowledged that you did. You acknowledged that either you or your fiance took things that didn't belong to you. You said you returned them, but you took them.
They were packed by other family members that were helping us pack.
And? So they were taken without her permission?
Yes.
By your agents, by people who were helping you, so they were your agents. What was taken?
I guess there was a gun that
Not guess. I don't want to hear guess.
There was a gun that was packed.
Okay. Did you get the gun back?
I got the gun back next day.
It was returned, yes.
What else?
That's as far as I know.
What else was missing?
The ammo.
The ammunition for the gun.
I don't have any ammunition.
I wouldn't have a gun without ammo.
Well, go and look for it. What else?
KitchenAid machine.
What is that?
A KitchenAid for mixing and making. I bought that for my mom. They took that.
That was given to us by my grandmother because she can no longer bake, or actually given to her because she bakes.
And she even, for Mother's Day, Nancy brought, her and Granny, her mother, Nancy brought me the attachment. It makes pasta for the KitchenAid for Mother's Day. So she was aware that her mother gave me, when she moved to the facility, that she gave me the
Oh, she moved to a facility, she can't make a gift. If she's moving to a facility because she has Alzheimer's, she can't make a gift.
I have power of attorney over her.
Shh. Now, if what you're telling me is that you did take it and that the plaintiff sort of ratified that by buying you an attachment for it for Mother's Day, that I'll ask her about. Okay. Now, Ms. Castleman, listen to me very carefully. Did you buy Miss Watson around Mother's Day a pasta attachment for the KitchenAid?
Yes, ma'am, I did. For my mom. With my mom.
I don't.
Because they were supposed to be cooking together.
No. No. You bought an attachment for it, and if you buy an attachment, that was a gift, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you made the gift, you handed the gift to whom?
To Trinity.
Right. So even if your mother didn't have the mental capacity, you could have argued, to make a gift, and it was yours, you ratified the gift by buying her something that could only be utilized with that machine. So I'm not interested in the machine. Could we move forward, please? I have 7 years of postgraduate education. I'm getting very tired of this case.
Okay.
Anything else? Vet bill. Now we'll get to the vet bill. Okay, you had to go to the emergency room when and for what, Miss Castleman?
I was having issues with my stomach. I was diagnosed with diverticulitis and had to go to
I can imagine. When?
That was in June, beginning of June.
June of this year. Who took you to the emergency room?
I had to take an Uber. I couldn't drive.
Who was home?
Trinity and her family.
And her family. Mm-hmm. And when you went to the emergency room, where was the van?
The van was at the home.
Why didn't she take you to the emergency room?
She said she couldn't do that. She said that she was too busy and stressed out.
Is that right?
I was dealing, my children's father just passed away that day.
And I was there with
Just a second. You were separated from him. Why couldn't you take her to the emergency room?
Because my children just found out that their dad passed away.
That
So
was
I
the
was
day
dealing with
before.
their emotions.
Just a second. I'm just trying to figure out why you couldn't take her to the emergency room. You've been living with your mother for a while now, since you got out of jail. How many times has your mother been to the emergency room?
Quite a few.
How many?
More than 10 that I know of.
And did you take her to the emergency room since you've been home?
I
from
have
jail?
before, yes.
How many times did you take her?
2 to 3 times, at least.
When was the last time you took her?
Maybe a year ago.
And what was wrong then?
Her sciatic nerve.
Did you wait with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, because that's the right thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Excuse me a second.
Get it.
Judy produces a fly swatter, then swats a fly with it.
Don't write to me if you're a fly lover. I don't care.
Caption coming up.
You did absolutely nothing wrong. If I looked up the word ungrateful in the dictionary, their pictures would be there.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Nancy, Danny, and Trinity.
Nancy Castleman has accused her son, Danny Horath, and his fiancée, Trinity Watson, of taking advantage of her kindness. Danny and Trinity claim Nancy became upset when they stopped doing her favors.
Well, Miss Watson, I know that you have an excuse. If it were me and I had been living off somebody else for years, I would have put my kids in the van and say, we have to take Grandma to the emergency room. That would just be me. And deal with my children in the van 5 minutes later.
And I would have if I wasn't dealing with my children at the time, and she was aware of that. I think she even took a Lyft or an Uber. She let me know it was okay.
I'm just telling you. I'm trying to get some sympathy going for the two of you. I'm not getting any sympathy going for the two of you. Did she ask you to watch her dog?
No, she, like normal, I have a dog too on the property, and it was a mutual agreement that anytime one of us were gone, we would always make sure the dog went out to use the restroom. But the day her dog had an injury, I wasn't home.
Where were you?
Gymnastics competition.
It just happened at night.
When was your dog injured?
On the day that I went to the ER. I asked her before, I said, I have to go, my Lyft is here, and can you feed my dogs? And because they're in their trailer still, and Molly's still on the bed, and I didn't want him jumping down, and can you take him out? I don't know when I'll be back. The Uber was there, or the Lyft was there, and I left. And when I came back home, it was about 5:30 in the morning. I noticed the dogs were in there, and that Asher was cut up. He had big old laceration.
Did you know what happened? Could you figure out what happened?
No, I think I know now they probably it was probably under their trailer while he was out, because she did say that she took him out, but she forgot to feed them, and she was home.
That night I was home, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you see her dog injured?
No.
Did you feed her dog that day?
No, I did forget to feed the dogs. I took her small dog, Tamale, off the bed, and I had them go out, and then I put them right back in, and I went back on to the house.
And you forgot to feed them?
Yes, I did.
Okay. But when you went in there, the dog was not injured?
No, he was not.
Okay. The last part of this, and then I'm actually finished. Money owed for unpaid living expenses. Anything other than what we have discussed?
They're supposed to pay rent.
Starting when?
It was supposed to initially have been in November for January of 2022, because since my mom had to go away because she couldn't take care of her anymore, I had to do what I have to do.
You mean after she stopped watching your mother?
Mm-hmm. That's when I mostly enforced it. But there are text messages that they agreed to pay.
I'd like to see them.
Okay.
I understand, Mr. Horath and Miss Watson, that the agreement was that you would live there paying certain expenses but not rent, as long as you, Miss Watson, and or Mr. Horath, when you were home, would take care of her mother so that she could work.
Yes.
And that stopped at a particular point.
Yes, in May.
That stopped in May.
Yes.
Okay.
Judy reviews a printout of a text exchange.
Well, it does seem that there were arguments back and forth about these expenses, but never wholly an understanding that that was going to happen.
Your Honor, I had several conversations with my son while he's truck driving. He didn't really talk to her particularly because I think she had a lot of influence on that. He would have done the
Whether
right
he did or whether he did, this comes from Danny himself. He says, okay, check this out. I'll call the state inspectors for the septic room additions in the bathroom that needs permits first.
She did.
Just a second. What kind of thing is that? How many times have you been married?
2.
And how old are you?
37.
How many times have you been married?
2.
And how old are you?
28.
And that's 2 in addition to this current engagement.
No, then it would just be 1.
And you?
Just 1.
Well, then you're not married, so you've each been married once before.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want you to look at your mother. Maybe in the next couple of years, maybe, she will be here, and maybe she won't. I'm sure when you married the first time, you expected that to be forever because you made a couple of children, right?
Yes.
I hope you'll be able to see that face for a very long time, but she had another husband before you. You're only going to have one mother. And your mother was really good to you and really good to a stranger and her children. And she didn't invite them in and say, well, I'm going to apply for some assistance because now, no. She worked all the time. According to you, she chose to work. She chose to work all the time instead of going to church with you. You have no idea how ridiculous that sounds. You have no idea how ridiculous it sounds to me that Miss Watson says to me, I have children. I can't work. Well, she had 2 children, yours. And she worked and had your 2 children that she had to take care of. And she's much older than Miss Watson. Do you understand? Yes. If you have a work ethic, you have a work ethic. If you don't have a work ethic, you don't have a work ethic. But right now, she took care of you since you got out of jail. That's a long time. And for you to cut her off from yourself and her grandchildren is pretty outrageous to me. But you're 37 years old, and you have 4 children. Now 6, because they don't have a father anymore, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I don't know what you were doing with all your extra money, but to your mother you were paying $400 a month for a 5-bedroom house, and now you're paying $2,500 a month rent in a 3-bedroom house, and I assume that that's plus trash, Con Edison, and internet, and everything else that goes along with the house. So I don't know who's paying for that, unless you were just stashing away money. I don't know. I doubt it. I don't even want to go into it. Anyway, Miss Castleman, it's not worth it. You did the right thing with him. You took him in. You did absolutely nothing wrong. But you didn't have a contract with him. And you didn't have a contract with her. And I can't enforce giving you money when there was no enforceable contract. But if I looked up the word ungrateful in the dictionary, their pictures would be there. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Nancy, then Danny, and Trinity.
I'm grateful for the things that she did say so they can understand where I'm coming from.
She has no control. She gets upset and wants to see revenge in any way she can.
Those words are not from him. I know my son.
We had a good relationship before all of this transpired.
They don't get it.
Well, I hope that we can all eventually get back to that point for the sake of the kids.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, I don't think that there's a legal lesson there to learn, Sarah.
I know, it's just so unfortunate because I feel for the plaintiff. As a grandmother, as a mother, you try and do the right thing, and just to feel so taken advantage of. And I didn't hear a good reason. I was waiting the whole time to hear a good reason for why she was this terrible person that they had to move away from, but it never came.
Well, the only thing that I came up with was that she agreed to let them rent the house, rent to buy.
Yes.
Because they couldn't buy the house. They didn't have sufficient funds. But there was a condition. Now, she was living in a trailer on the property. She said, I want to be able to move somebody in there because I'm going to have to find another place to live and I'm going to need money. If I sold the house, I would have some money.
And I'm sure to pay for her mother in care costs money as well.
She's a hardworking lady. She had 2 little kids that she had to take care of, in addition to a sick mother, in addition to working full-time.
A lot of stress.
While this one is in prison and the girlfriend is going to school.
No legal lesson, but hopefully they work it out.
Hopefully. Be too bad if they didn't.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you having a family dispute? Go to judyjustice.tv. Jennifer Laws is suing her niece, Janelle Laws, and her stepdaughter, Ari Scales, for the costs of a car.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2130, Laws versus Law, Scales.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Laws, this young woman is your niece.
Yes.
And this young lady is the ward of your niece.
Yes.
You have guardianship over her. Is she related to you?
No, she's related to my wife.
Okay. But you have guardianship.
We both do.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
You had an automobile.
Yes.
It was an automobile that you allowed your niece to use, and it was at her house.
Yes.
That was in September of 2020. Her car was in the shop, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, your niece went out of town for a while?
Yes.
Do you remember what date that was?
October 17th of 2020.
And prior to your going out of town, had Miss Scales ever driven the car?
No.
Had you ever given her permission to drive the car?
No.
Now, Miss Scales, there did come a time in October of 2020 that you took the car.
Yes.
Tell me how you managed to get a hold of the car.
So the keys, we have a key hook in the front of our house, and I just used the keys there.
Did you ask anyone?
No.
Tell me why.
I had a scare that I was afraid to do by myself.
What kind of scare?
A pregnancy scare.
Okay. So you took the car to go where?
To who I was dating at the time.
What time of the day did you take the car?
Between the times of 4 and 6 p.m.
And at what time did you have an accident with the car?
I would say between 7 and 8 p.m.
Had you already seen the boyfriend?
No.
Where were you between 7 and 8? Where were you
Driving.
going? Driving to who?
To the boyfriend.
Oh, so it takes a while to get there?
Yes.
How long?
About an hour.
In any event, you had an accident.
Yes.
The car was totaled. You had insurance?
Yes.
And had you told your niece that you had insurance on the car?
Yes.
Okay, because she says that you had told her you had insurance on the car and you had a loan on the car. There was a note.
That's correct.
So when she borrowed the car, she knew it was insured. Did you also tell her that you had the gap insurance?
Yes.
And what year, make, and model of car was it?
A 2015 Mitsubishi Mirage.
Did you buy it new or used?
Brand new.
And how long was the loan on the car?
6 or 7 years. I think it was 6.
So by 2020, you had paid up most of the car.
Yes.
What was the balance left on the car?
I'm not exactly sure the exact balance that was left on the car.
Okay. How much did you pay for the car?
I paid $17,000. That's what it was financed at, so that's not with the finance charges.
Okay, so you paid $17,000. How much of a down payment did you put down?
I didn't put any money down on it.
So in 5 years, between 2015 and 2017, you paid off about 80% of the car.
Yes.
What's the car worth now?
Based on 75,000 miles in good condition, I'm seeing between 5,500 and 7,500.
Okay. Now, after the accident, you put in a claim through your insurance.
Yes.
And your insurance covered how much?
The insurance paid out $7,379.
They wrote a check to the bank?
Yes, ma'am.
And can I see the paperwork on that, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Because what you're suing for now is another $8,496.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Okay, so your insurance also paid on the other car that you had the accident with. You had an accident with a Ford Focus?
Yes.
Okay, so they paid $2,900 on that, and they paid you $7,379.
Yes, ma'am.
And show me what the note balance was on the car at the time that they paid this out, which would have been sometime in 2020 or maybe 21.
You want the balance after they paid out or before they paid out?
Both.
Okay. This is after they paid out.
And before.
I don't have a copy of what it was owed on before the accident.
Oh, I need a whole payout because what your niece says is that they paid you the value of the car, which clearly it was the value of the car, because the value of the car, according to Sarah, is between $5,000 and $7,000. They paid you $73.79, which clearly covered a substantial part of your note. What the defendant is saying is that during COVID, for financial reasons, you had requested that the payments be put on hold.
Right.
And that you not make any payments on the car, and that the interest would continue to accrue.
Right.
And that that's not her fault. You asked to have the payments put off, but you drove the car. You had the benefit of driving the car all during COVID.
Right.
And she shouldn't be penalized. The insurance company paid out what the car was worth. These additional charges are because you put off making the payments during COVID, and it also accrued that interest. That's your defense. Am I right?
Yes.
That I have to see.
Okay.
I don't want to hear it. I want to see it.
The paper that you have there, that's from, it shows that a payment was made on that car on September 4th, 2020, and that was the last payment that was made. So if there were no payments being made during that time that she had the car, it was.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, when COVID started, did you
Yes.
put the payments on hold?
I did, because I was no longer working, so they gave me the option to delay my payment, which means they tack them on to the end.
And I understand that, but you were driving the car. You were driving the car. She's not going to pay for that.
She had the car from the beginning of September, and she was only supposed to have it for 3 days when her car got fixed.
It doesn't matter. First of all, you didn't bring me the documentation that I need. You didn't bring me what was actually owed on the car and what was owed on the car and how much was owed as a result of your deferring payments and interest.
When I did the stop payments on the car, it was before she even borrowed it.
Well, that may be, madam, but if what you're telling me is you started to pay again, you still drove the car when you deferred payments.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, well, that's not her responsibility.
But the balance that's left on the car, they paid what the value of the car was. They said that they don't pay finance charges. So there was a balance of 37.
Well, the finance charges were finance charges that accrued, and you don't have the paperwork for me here.
$3,700 worth of finance charge for 2 months?
No, that's not for 2 months. I don't know what the finance charges were for. It doesn't say that. You don't have the paperwork here. You don't have the right paperwork. So you have to understand something. What you're suing her for is $8,496. First of all, the car is only worth $5,000. You got $7,300 that the insurance company paid directly to the lender. And I don't have what you owed here before the accident. I don't have that. And the payments that you deferred. If you deferred payments prior to that time, that's your responsibility.
But I only deferred payments for 3 months. That's not going to
Just a
amount
second.
to $3,700.
I have no idea. You should have brought the paperwork. This is not that paperwork.
So I'm out of a whole car. Like, I've invested almost $10,000 into this car. I let her use the car, and
that's what your insurance for.
And now I'm just not out only the $3,700. Now it's been late charges and other charges on that, and now it's $6,000 that's on my credit.
You defer the payments. I can't tell how many months you deferred the payments. You said maybe I deferred it 3 payments. I don't know. You didn't bring me the paperwork.
I deferred.
You can't tell me.
Caption coming up.
If she would have never had the car, then I would have been responsible totally to pay all of that amount. It's cost me more than just this amount that's still on my credit.
She didn't do anything wrong so far. I mean, you have a 21-year-old girl who shouldn't have taken the car keys without permission.
And later today,
You write to her that you saw her take some stuff, and you say to her, so don't tell me you don't steal from me. Friends don't steal from friends, so I won't burn you for what I borrowed. You should think twice before you steal from, because I could say, I'm not giving you nothing.
A woman shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jennifer, Janelle, and Ari.
Jennifer Laws claims her niece, Janelle Laws, and her stepdaughter, Ari Scales, owe the balance on her car after Ari totaled it in an accident.
She says you deferred the payments. That was the reason for these overages, which I can understand, because otherwise the insurance company, and if you had gap insurance, which you say you did, would have paid any gap between the loan.
My gap insurance was only until a certain amount of time, and then after that, the gap insurance only pays a certain amount.
I don't know any of that. What I need from you, you didn't bring. You brought only what was necessary to put forth your position. I need what was owed on the car and for past due payments with accrued interest and for current payments. And you don't have that. So far, all I know is you had full insurance on this car and the full insurance was paid. And if there was a reason that the insurance company, for some reason, didn't pay an amount of money, I don't have an explanation of that here in what you gave me, except the explanation that she offers, which was during COVID, you deferred your payments and the interest was accruing, and that the insurance company was not going to pay because that was done prior to October.
That's not
2020.
That's not true. I deferred 1 or 2 payments.
Well, 2 minutes ago, was that 3 payments?
Because, ma'am, I'm sorry. Let me just explain that. During this time, April 2020, I lost my mother to COVID. So I had 2 cars. I had the pink car and I had the car that I gave to my mom, which is a black car, which was also in my name that I was responsible for. The car that I put the deferred payments on was the Kia Optima. That's the one that I put the deferred payments on. This car, I had a couple late payments, but I never stopped paying that car note.
I can't tell you. You don't have the paperwork. All that I can tell you is the insurance company paid everything that they were supposed to pay, including the gap insurance for this accident. So I can't help you.
Did not pay.
Listen to me. I'm not going to repeat myself. This doesn't tell me how much you owed prior to the accident and what it was for. And if it shows that all you owed currently prior to the accident, it had to show that that was $73.79 and it included the gap insurance. You may have had old finance fees that had nothing to do with her.
The gap insurance never paid.
I can't help you, madam. You don't have the right paperwork.
If she would have never had the car, then I would have been responsible totally to pay all of that amount. But because I don't have a car, it disrupted my life. It's cost me more than just this amount that's still on my credit.
She didn't do anything wrong so far. I mean, you had a 21-year-old girl who shouldn't have taken the car keys without permission. But the car was there, and it was there with your permission, and there's no question that the accident was her fault.
I have been asking her to return my car.
If you have the proof, the only thing I want you to show me is a document from your lender which says how much was owed at the time of the accident and for what. Do you have that?
I don't, because I didn't think that I needed it.
Okay, well, then I can't help you. Today's a court day. This is the day you have.
I have a ton of evidence here.
Madam, you don't have the evidence that I need. Your request for $9,000 for a $5,000 car in which you've already been paid $7,300 is ridiculous. So all I have to see is how much was deferred and the interest on the accrued that you deferred while you were using the car before she had it for this 5 or 6 weeks that she had it in September. If you have that, I'll look at it. If you don't have it, I'm not interested. Do you have
the paperwork that you have?
Well, then I'm going to give it back to you, and you're going to show me where it shows here in October of 2020 how much you owed on the car and how much were past payments and finance charges based on the last payments.
Jennifer reviews the documents.
You understand what you gave me? If I can make this as simple as possible for you, if you never loaned her the car, if you had the car for that 5-week period and you had an accident with the car during that 5-week period, you would be in the exact same position you are now. The company would have paid off what they paid and would not have paid off what you still owed them because you deferred payments. It doesn't matter who was driving the car.
And I do understand
that. Okay, good.
And I'm glad you understand.
I'm glad you understand that.
My car.
I'm glad you understand that. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Jennifer, then Ari and Janelle.
She needed to borrow my car.
It was just a bad accident. It was just me, young, got into an accident.
So I thought that I was helping her. You know, so when this balance is due, I'm the one that's out.
The car hit me and ran the light and it hit me.
You know, I'm the one that suffered. I'm the one that got to pay all of that money.
I'm fine.
So I don't think that was fair at all.
Judy and Sarah.
So for a period of time, let's say 6 or 7 months. Her numbers kept changing. First it was 3 months she didn't pay, and then it was 1 or 2 months that she didn't say, and she may have been late a little bit. Well, the insurance company's not going to give you credit for that. And it didn't look to me, based on the papers, that there was any animus between the parties until
right now.
Today. And then maybe she should be angry with me and not at them. They all know each other and get along with each other. So that the amount of money she has to pay is the amount of money she should have paid while she was driving the car but chose to defer.
And I think that that's a good lesson about deferring payments, especially now with COVID and everything. I know people my age, 25, around there, have been deferring payments, whether it be for car notes or for interest on your loans, things like that, that sometimes she didn't even realize that this was all accruing under the surface. So you think that by deferring, if you don't read the fine print, that could be a good lesson that
Yeah,
if
and
an
she said she had a lot of
happens-
other things going on in her life, but that...
And again, it was an accident. They
It
don't
was an
call
accident.
it an on purpose.
That's
So.
right.
Case 2133, Morrissey versus Comer. All parties, please come forward.
Tabitha Morrissey is suing her former friend, Tina Comer, for an unpaid loan and personal belongings.
Ms. Morrissey, you have a lot of claims here against the defendant for a personal loan and the value of personal belongings.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. She was a friend of yours. You used to go gambling together, Ms. Morrissey?
Yes, we did.
How many times a week did you go gambling?
Probably once or twice a week.
And did you go just the two of you?
Yes.
And over what period of time?
Over
a year, 2, 3?
Probably a year.
There was a time when you went, and according to you, Miss Comer didn't have any money. And so you agreed to advance her money. And she says, actually, you agreed to advance her money. And the agreement was if you won, she would pay you back with her winnings, whatever
Your
it was.
Honor,
Whatever it was. How much money did you give her to gamble?
I loaned her $230 with the agreement that she would pay me an extra $200 because she was going to get her mother's inheritance.
Okay. On what date?
April 28, 2022.
Okay. And you went gambling with her?
No, she came by and we were going to go meet at the casino, but I didn't really want to do it because I have a boyfriend that doesn't
Just
like
a second. I don't need a whole story.
Okay. All right, sorry. So she went to the casino without me, and then she came by my house after that and told me that she spent her boyfriend's money at the casino, and so that she was supposed to use it at the store. And so I gave her the money to cover that, and that's when we made that agreement.
You gave her the money to cover that because she asked you for it?
Yes.
And she agreed to pay you back?
Yes.
Caption coming up.
February, did you go to the casino and lose some of your boyfriend's money?
No.
Did you go to her house and tell her that you lost some of your boyfriend?
It wasn't in February.
What month?
It was probably April.
I don't care what month it was. Did you tell her you lost your boyfriend's money at the casino?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tabitha and Tina.
Tabitha Morrissey claims her former friend, Tina Comer, owes for an unpaid loan and personal belongings.
Judy.
Go.
No, it was in February.
Okay, February.
I won a jackpot.
Just a second. February, did you go to the casino and lose some of your boyfriend's money?
No.
Okay. Did you go to her house and tell her that you lost some of your
It wasn't
boyfriend?
in February.
What month?
It was probably April.
I don't care what month it was. Did you tell her you lost your boyfriend's money at the casino?
$30 of it.
Judy glares at Tina.
Okay. But in February, I won a jackpot. And I didn't have my license with me because I lost my wallet. And they told me I had to come back with my license to get it.
I don't want to hear you.
Sorry.
So I asked Tabitha if she would take me back up to get my jackpot money, and I would pay her the money that I owe her, plus give her $60 for gas. And that's when I paid her the money back. And then her boyfriend also, there's some guy that she brought up there with us, asked if he can borrow some money because he said Tabitha said she'll pay me back. So I gave him $100 too.
When you came back and told her that you had lost some of your boyfriend's money, according to you, it was $30, not $230.
Yeah, it was $30. I already paid her the $2-something when she took me to Cass Creek in February.
Oh, that was before.
Yeah, so I didn't owe her no money. But I paid her back in February, the money that I did owe her. I got proof of it too.
I'd like to see it.
And I got proof that, okay.
Take it out. I'll see whatever proof you have over this loan.
Okay, yes.
Tabitha and Tina both search through piles of documents.
Come on, let's go.
Okay, well, here's where I won the money.
Proof. I also got proof of her saying that when she still owed me the money back in May. I got proof of that too.
Casino check. I'm not interested in this.
That's when I won the money.
I don't care.
And the other one shows when I had to go back and pick it up.
I don't care about that either.
And then...
Shh. April 28th. I can loan you some. That's in April.
Yeah, I said April 28th.
So that's when she asks for some money.
Yes.
And that was the $230?
Yes.
I'd like to see what you have.
This is...
That's April. That's not February.
No. That's in June when she told me how what she owed me in cash-wise.
Okay, so on June 11th, Ms. Comer, you write to her that you saw her take some stuff.
Yes.
Some beads, or friends took beads that belonged to you, and you say to her, so don't tell me you don't steal from me, friends don't steal from friends, so I won't burn you for what I borrowed, which is $230. But I decided I will not give you the other $200. So I'm just not going to give you the extra. That's what it's going to cost you for stealing from me. You should think twice before you steal from, because I could say, I'm not giving you nothing, so I'm only taking back what I was going to give you. We had to sign some more papers, so I should get it any day, and I will text you when I get it. I'm also missing a half box of sunglasses, and that girl is going to get it. She lied saying the hair clippers were hers. I don't care about all that. Okay, I'm going to deal with this loan of $230. And it's clear from your statement, Ms. Comer, although it's usurious interest, and I'm not going to grant you that other $200 because it's outrageous. She's giving you 100% interest on the $230, but you are entitled to your $230 back.
But
okay, because she acknowledges, just a second, she acknowledges the debt on June 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about the personal belongings that you say? And don't give me a lot of nonsense. I'm not listening to a lot of nonsense.
Okay, yes. She came to me and said she wanted to do a yard sale, so we were going to do it in May.
Okay, you were supposed to do a yard sale.
Yes.
It worked for a week. It didn't work the next week. What items do you say she has of yours?
She has jewelry of mine.
I'm not listening to jewelry. Show me the insurance receipts for jewelry. Come on. Let's go. What does she have of yours?
I can show you the pictures of her yard sale that does have my stuff in it.
Well, what did she end up with your stuff for? You were there at the yard sale.
I didn't have a car, so she came and picked me up and took me to my storage to go get my yard sale stuff to take over to her house to do it in the yard sale. She was supposed to contact me and come get me when she was getting ready to do the yard sale. I stayed the night at her house, and we were setting up all night long because it was a really big yard sale. It was more like a flea market type thing. And she never contacted me after dropping me back off at home, and she said that my box of jewelry fell out of my stuff when she was loading it up because she fell. So when she got home that night after dropping me off, she said it was in the driveway.
You have that in text
That was
message?
my personal belongings.
You have it?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you.
Tabitha hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews a text message.
So this looks like a lot of cheap plastic crystals.
No, my wedding ring was in that box. I had my box of jewelry with me to go through when I stayed the night at her house, and I was taking out the other jewelry, and the box that was coming with me home, she was loading it up, and she said it fell out of her car. So I don't see how it fell out, but she said it did. So when she got there that night, she said she'd seen it in her driveway. So, I mean, that had my wedding ring in it. And I was in the middle of getting the divorce, but it still means something to me.
Mm-hmm. $230. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done here. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Tina, then Tabitha.
Everything she said was a lie about the money, about all her stuff. Everything was a lie.
Because she just doesn't want to pay me my money.
She just wants to get money out of me. Because I won 2 jackpots and I got my mother's inheritance.
It hurts very much.
She's done.
I don't even care to see her.
Judy and Sarah.
That was really very simple when you discarded this garage sale and crystal beads listed as some of the items in the text message that were their boyfriends. Tweezers. Mm-hmm. When you got rid of that, it was actually pretty simple.
Cash loan, $230.
Cash loan, $230 that she acknowledged in June.
Mm-hmm.
So, relatively easy.
Yeah.
Some easy.
Some not.
Some not.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to Judy, Selena Brown, and Trayon Dupree. are suing their customer, Brianna Freeman, for rental car damage and lost wages.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2174, Brown Dupree versus Freeman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, who's the business person?
It's us.
That would be you?
Yes.
Your name is Mr. Dupree.
Mr. Dupree.
You a couple?
No, ma'am. It's business partners.
In what business?
Car rental.
How do you know each other?
We met from military.
So you're not a couple, you're just in business together. I just want to know. Don't both smile. I just want to know. Let's go.
We're friends.
Yeah, we're friends. We're friends.
What? This is not going to happen for me.
We're not a couple. We know we're friends, you know, and we decided to go in business together.
Where do you live?
Houston, Texas.
Where does she live?
Houston,
Where does
Texas.
she? Shut.
Houston, Texas.
Does she live in the same place that you do?
In the same home?
In the same place, building?
Oh, no, we don't.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
Who does she live with?
Herself.
When did you meet in the military?
Maybe 2021. Not really sure exactly what month. But...
Now, if you're in business together, is the only business you had this one car that we?
Yes, we was just starting.
What kind of work do you do?
Crane operation.
Full time?
Yes.
And what about you?
I work at a call center.
So that's your primary source of income?
That's correct.
Yes.
And you decided to do this car rental as sort of a side gig?
Yes.
We had just got out the military, so we didn't have a job then. So we did it for a primary source of income.
Well, you can't have one car that you rent as a primary source of income.
We have our military disability check as well, so we have that. And we
How long were you in the military?
Almost 9 years.
And you?
8.
Where did you serve?
Norfolk, Virginia, and Mayport, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida.
So you were never out of the United States?
Yes, I went overseas for deployments, but never stationed.
But where did you go on your deployment?
Bahrain, Dubai, Greece, Italy, and all over.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, good. Yeah. What about you?
Only Virginia.
Only Virginia?
Only Virginia.
How did you become disabled in Virginia?
I have no idea.
I mean, you said you're on a military disability, so, I could understand if you deployed someplace else.
I have no idea.
You have no idea what?
Why, I guess, became disabled. Just mentally, I guess. Mental.
Well, you applied for a disability from the Army.
You said what?
What?
I said mentally.
Just my own curiosity. I have to see how this is going. How much is your disability benefit from the Army?
$2,000.
A month? It's not an answer. Yes is an answer. What about you?
Same.
And is your disability mental or physical?
Both.
Well, your physical disability doesn't inhibit you from being a crane operator.
No, not really.
Great. I love America. Okay, so now you're out, you're both on disability from the Army. You don't have a job yet, so you decide to buy a Mercedes.
That's correct.
What year Mercedes?
2014.
And how much was it?
$22,000.
Is there a note on the car?
Yes.
For how much?
$350
per month.
Yes.
How much of a loan did you take out?
23, one of them. It's not too much.
Car was only 22.
The car was 22.
I don't know the exact number that the car is right now, but it was between 21 and 23,000 that we owed on it. And I took the loan out.
Where is the car now?
In Texas.
With whom?
She has it right now.
What was the rental agreement that you had with Miss Freeman? You didn't form a business corporation or anything else, am I correct?
Yes, we have an LLC.
And the sole asset is this car?
Yes.
You bought the car when? Give me the date again.
I think it was in July.
July of 2022?
That's correct.
And when did you rent the car to the defendant?
August 27th.
Do you have the rental agreement?
Selena produces documents.
I don't have the original agreement because it was in my car that was stolen, but I made her take a picture with her driver's license and send it to me. So this is a copy, and this is before she signed it.
And I have after I signed.
It's literally the same thing.
Just,
so you know you.
Let her talk.
Judy reviews the documents.
Okay. What I'd like you to do is take a look at this, Ms. Freeman, and tell me if you have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same
Yes,
what she
ma'am.
had. Okay. And this is the entire agreement, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Caption, coming up.
I don't know why you're arguing. It doesn't appear, madam, it doesn't appear as if you are losing this case. So I don't know why you feel compelled to make it hostile.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Treyon, Selena, and Brianna.
Selena Brown and Treyon Dupree claim their customer, Brianna Freeman, owes for damages to their Mercedes rental car. Brianna is countersuing for lost wages.
So there's nothing in this agreement that prevents her from allowing somebody else to use the car, and the agreement specifically says that if anything happens to the car, she is responsible to use her insurance, and you have a policy number, your policy number for insurance. Okay, so your boyfriend was driving the car on what date?
The 1st.
First of what?
September. And I have the accident report if you want that.
Not yet, I may. Not yet, but there was an accident and the car was damaged.
Correct.
Anybody have a photograph of the damage to the car?
I have it on my phone if you would like to see that.
I would.
While we're waiting, Your Honor, I found the LLC filing that lists both of them as the
principals.
As the principals, but they list the same address for both of them. Their residents are listed as the same.
Oh, really? Interesting. Want to say that a little louder?
I just said I found both of them listed as managing members of the LLC with the same address for both of them listed.
I lived in a different state when we started. I was in Florida.
We don't live together. That's what y'all are saying.
It just lists.
Yeah,
lists
that's just the
places they live
LLC
as well.
address.
It's in my boyfriend's phone because the number that's on the contract was his phone at the time. So if you want to see.
I had a picture right here.
And I have multiple pictures as well.
Of the car?
That's correct.
Well, that's what I'm asking you for. I said I want to see pictures of the damage to the car. You were in an accident?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you agreed in this contract that if you were in an accident, Brianna, that would be you,
yes,
will use her insurance if anything happens during the rental. Brianna will be responsible to pay out of pocket.
Correct.
You signed that?
Correct.
Okay, so you were in an accident. I don't care whose fault it is because it doesn't have anything to do with fault. Picture of the car.
It's another paper picture.
It's a couple pictures, so you can just check as well.
Selena hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews images of a damaged vehicle, then gestures to Brianna's boyfriend, Eshwin.
Stand up. Somebody hit you in the rear?
No, in the front.
Oh, this is the front of the
They
car.
ran a stop sign.
What?
They ran a stop sign. I was coming up. They were coming across.
Well, whatever. You had damage in the front of your car. In my mind, that usually means that you hit somebody.
No, they came across from me. They ran a stop sign in front of me.
And you hit them. Okay, well, that's what it usually means, that you hit somebody in the front. Okay, and that was on September 1st.
Correct.
Did you notify your insurance company?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to see proof of that.
So these are the claims, the quotes they gave me to fix the car. Also, this is when I let her know, Ms. Brown, what was covered under my policy.
I'd like to see it.
So that's that. It shows what's covered in my policy.
Was the car fixed?
Absolutely
No.
not.
It was not?
Not at all.
Why not?
Because I didn't talk to Treyon, Mr. Dupree, however you say his name, until the day, September the 5th. All of my business was going through Mrs. Brown. So I don't know if he just found out what happened. But when I called the insurance on the 1st, they let me know that he was the owner of the vehicle. I said, okay. They said they'll have to go through everything through him so that the car can get fixed because I wasn't the title holder. I said, that's fine. I said, okay, due to the fact that the car got wrecked, I let her know that once the car goes to Mercedes-Benz to get fixed, they give a loaner vehicle. I let them know everything that was covered. Why it didn't get fixed? Because she popped up to my home and caused drama. I lost my job behind it, so forth and so on.
What does that have to do with your responsibility? Your boyfriend had an accident with a car. You have a contract that says you're going to fix it.
Because Treyon said it wasn't enough.
What do you mean Treyon said it wasn't enough?
I sent him the quote for their adjusters, and he said that wasn't enough to get it fixed. And I have that text message from Trayon.
Just a second. I'd like to see your quote from your company.
Judy reviews a document.
Where did you take the car for them to send an adjuster to take a look at the car?
I had to take pictures of the car and upload it to the app they sent me, and that's how they got those quotes.
They have an estimate here of $3,000. Did you get an estimate to fix the car?
Yes, we got an estimate.
I'd like to see it.
In person. That was just the picture, and when I
Okay,
talked...
got it.
Trayon hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
May I interject a little bit? Because Brianna kind of lying, and she raised her right hand. So Brianna didn't notify us that the car was wrecked until September 3rd. She told us that she was in the hospital with her dying father.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I don't care.
She lied about
I don't care.
She lied about how the car got wrecked.
I don't care. It doesn't matter how the car got wrecked. She has an obligation to fix it. She has an obligation to fix it. And to be quite honest with you, this is a Mercedes, and this car can't be fixed for $2,900. Can't. He's absolutely right. This car can't be fixed based upon that damage. And he wasn't prepared to say here.
No, it wasn't that at all. So once, I guess, he got involved in the business, I was talking to Ms. Brown. She said she had a rental the next day or something in that manner. And I said, okay, well, let me find a Mercedes-Benz that can actually get your car in so you can get this loaner car for you to rent your car out. Also, in the midst of that, I was going to pay for the rental that she had that was so much wanting to cancel on her. So I said, okay, Mercedes has a loaner car and can accept your car at the time.
Well, they couldn't fix this car for $2,900.
So that's what they gave me, and they said that if it went to a Mercedes-Benz shop, they will honor that.
I don't know that at all.
That's what they told me.
I don't care.
But regardless of the price of getting the car fixed, I was going to pay because I know that we was at fault for it. Quote, unquote, it was my contract that I signed. That wasn't an issue.
Well, then you can take that up with your insurance company.
Correct. I didn't have a problem with paying.
Yeah, then you can take it up with your insurance company.
Caption, coming up.
She lied about how the accident happened. So they denied.
Don't listen to me. You started to say that before. I told you I don't care.
She's just lying and cost us so much money. Like,
madam, listen to me.
Selena lowers her eyes and trembles.
You okay? Good.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Trayon, Selena, and Brianna.
Selena Brown and Trayon Dupree have accused their customer, Brianna Freeman, of damaging their Mercedes rental car after her boyfriend was in an accident.
He has an estimate that looks like a pretty legitimate estimate. They bought the car. It's a relatively new car. They paid $22,000 for it. Your boyfriend wrecked it, and he has an estimate, which looks reasonable, for $8,000 to fix it. And if your insurance company is dragging their heels and not paying what they should, you take that up with your insurance company.
I never got that quote, by the way.
Which quote?
The quote that the $8,000. I never got that.
Well, I'm going to show it to you.
Oh, it's probably be true.
$8,319.
her insurance denied it because she lied. She lied about how the accident happened. So they denied.
Don't listen to me. You started to say that before. I told you I don't care.
My insurance.
Just a second.
Your insurance what?
Never denied the claim.
I have proof. I talked to him. I have proof. I have the email where he said they denied it because.
They definitely denied it.
Because I told them to stop because she popped up at my house.
Because she lied about the accident. Because we tried to get it through our insurance as well.
I don't know why you're arguing. It doesn't appear, madam, it doesn't appear as if you are losing this case. So I don't know why you feel compelled to make it hostile. I don't understand why.
She's just lying and cost us so much money. Like,
madam, listen to me. We're all told.
Selena lowers her eyes and trembles.
You okay? Good. Your car is in this condition at whose house? At your house?
That's correct.
And the car, since the accident, which was 4 months ago, has it been rented?
No.
No. Is it drivable?
Yes, it's drivable.
When was the last time you drove it?
Last week.
When was the last time you rented it?
Since Brianna.
Have you been making the payments on the car?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's been making the payments?
Both.
What is the monthly payment?
$350. $350.
50. You told me that. The insurance up to date?
So we had insurance. We had commercial insurance on it. But when I put in the claim and told them what happened, because we did get lied to about what actually happened, and we didn't get informed of the accident till the 3rd. But when I put in the claim, I put it in how they told us what happened. And my insurance, they found the police report before we did, and they seen what actually happened. So they felt like we was trying to do fraud. So the guy, he told us it's better for us to pull the claim because it's going to look like it's fraud on our part. So they dropped us from the insurance.
So they dropped you after?
Yes.
After the accident?
Yes.
Can I see the police report now?
Brianna hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Well, this police report indicates that the other person was at fault.
That was my... Oh, sorry.
Am I wrong about that?
No, ma'am.
No, then don't speak. This police report, did you see it?
Yes. Got it right here.
I'd like to see what you have. This police report clearly says that Unit 1, which was the woman, ran a stop sign. That's what it says. Why would your insurance company drop you?
Because we gave the story that she told us, so it looks like we're doing fraud.
Yeah.
And basically, ignorance isn't an excuse for them, so.
Actually, that's pretty outrageous.
We was told it was a hit and run.
She told us it was a hit and run, so we told them that. She said she was in the hospital when it got hit, and then we found the report. She waited until the day that we had a rental to tell us. We had another rental on the 3rd that afternoon. She told us that morning.
On the 3rd?
That's correct.
And the accident was on the 1st?
That's correct.
Okay. I think you have to get your car fixed. I think that the fact that your insurance company canceled your insurance when it was clear that he was not at fault in this accident, at least according to the police report, is actually pretty outrageous that they canceled your insurance. Is there any insurance on the car now?
Yes, there's regular insurance on it.
Not commercial anymore?
Not right now because we're not renting it.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $8,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Treyon and Selena, then Brianna.
I'm glad we won and everything. I felt like, we deserved more than we got, but at the end of the day, we won the case. I'm not mad at the decision.
I'm fine with it regardless because I know I was trying to get it fixed. It was just a timing issue.
She lied about everything. She literally lied about everything. She pulled out a gun on me.
Lying, I don't have anything to lie about. It's all in my evidence.
Like, she told me to come basically get the car and the keys in the mailbox. And when I went over there to get it, she pulled a gun out on me because I took my wig off.
She posted stuff saying I lied about things. I pulled my gun out on her. Like, girl, I don't have a gun, like, at all.
I think that they put it inside, so they checked them. But they said they couldn't go inside, so they checked their body.
They checked them. They wasn't able to prove that they had a gun because,
So she said it was a gun, it was a bat, and I had to get checked twice by the police officer. And it was like, she came over here looking for problems because the car was gonna get towed.
It's definitely a risk, but, make sure we're prepared for stuff like that from now on.
No hard feelings, supporting Black businesses, but it is what it is. You know what you know, it's just facts.
I think I should just be grateful. I'm just gonna be quiet and just be grateful.
Judy and Sarah.
I'm sitting here trying to think of what the takeaway is on this case, and I can't think of the takeaway?
I mean, I'm having a hard time as well, but I think accountability and responsibility could be a good one. The defendant knows what she signed, that any damage to the car from her boyfriend, her, anyone while the car was in her possession is on her. But what we see a lot of is emotional issues come into play when people know their responsibility, but then there's an emotional issue. She came to my job, she harassed me, she came to my house and yelled at me, whatever it is. And they think they can use that as a justification to get out of their accountability. And although I'm not promoting going to someone's house for some self-help, that's not a reason for you not to follow through on your responsibility.
On your contractual responsibility.
Yes. Which she was clearly aware of. So maybe that.
That's the takeaway. Maybe that. You're right.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Former employer, Juan Vasquez, for unpaid work and defamation of character.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2007, Sanchez versus Vasquez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sanchez, how old are you, sir?
I'm 26 years old.
And what is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree in film that I got from Full Sail University. I'm currently...
Slowly.
I'm sorry.
You have a bachelor's degree from?
Full Sail University.
Where is that?
Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida. That I can hear. You have to understand, when you're dealing with someone of my age, you have to sort of factor that into your speech. People who are 26 may be able to follow you. I'm senior. I need people to speak slowly so that I can follow them.
I got you.
So you got a bachelor's degree from a university in Florida and graduated when?
I graduated in 2018.
And from there, what kind of work did you do?
From there, I jumped around a little bit. I did
Okay,
work...
you jumped around. Did your family live in Florida?
No, ma'am.
Where do they live?
They live in Beaumont, Texas.
Did you live with them at all in Beaumont?
No, ma'am.
After college?
Not until the pandemic.
Okay. Well, the pandemic was in 2020.
Yes.
So you graduated in June of 2018, and then the pandemic started on or about March of 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
And in March of 2020, you went home to your parents' house.
Yes.
And you stayed there until when?
I'm still currently there. I started going back to school, actually.
When did you start going back to school?
My first classes were in December of last year.
In Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So you actually had a year and a half out of school when you were hopping around.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want you to tell me who you worked for in that year and a half.
I was an intern on a documentary.
Okay, and when was that?
That was about a few months after I graduated.
So maybe September, October?
Yeah, probably around there. I did a few independent films.
Okay, and what kind of work did you do for them?
Just kind of depended what they needed. It was mostly
Like a
PA
PA?
stuff. Yeah.
Like a PA. And for that work, were you paid as a PA?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much were you paid as a PA?
They paid me $75 a day.
Pay you in cash?
They paid me in cash.
Okay, so you did those couple of little projects, and then what?
I was also waiting tables at the time.
Okay, well, you got to eat.
Right. After the pandemic hit, my lease was up. I moved back home. Decided I would go back to school to get a tech job. I'm going for cybersecurity right now. I had heard through a family friend.
Okay, let's stop there. This case is, I don't think so difficult, but relatively interesting for me because we don't get them all the time. Mr. Vasquez, you were making a movie.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this the first movie you ever made?
No, Your Honor.
How many movies have you made?
This was film number 5 for me. Written, directed, produced.
Is it a fiction piece or a documentary?
It's actually based on a true story.
So it's a docudrama?
Correct, yes.
See that? Are you impressed with that? There you go, a docudrama. How long a film?
90 to 100 minutes. We're still in post, still editing. So
Keep your voice up. Approximately how long?
100 minutes.
What was your budget?
It's still in
About what was your budget? Then you're going to tell me where you got the financing.
roughly 120,000.
Where did you get the money from?
A lot of it was my money and other producers.
How much did you put in?
Over 80,000.
And you've got other people in for about 40.
Yeah.
Did you make money on your other films?
I have, yes, in the past.
Okay, this is what the case is about. Mr. Sanchez says that he was hired by your company. And he was hired by your company to work on this last film that you were doing. And it was a paying job. And at the end of the period, he was not paid. And in addition, he says that when he complained about not being paid, you put out there on social media that you weren't paying him because he was on drugs. Is that what the case is basically about?
Basically. It wasn't on social media. It was through text messages. He accused me of it, but...
Text messages?
Yes.
Well, that to me is almost social media. If it doesn't come to me by the U.S. Postal Service, I call it social media. I know. Okay. Did you answer an ad for this job?
No, I heard about it through a family friend.
And when did you meet Mr. Vasquez for the first time?
We didn't actually meet face-to-face until about Saturday, July 10th, 2021.
Did you communicate via text messages or...
Yes, ma'am.
Emails? Well, when was the first either text message or email?
The first text message was on Monday, the 28th, 2021 of June.
6/28, 2021. May I see that, please?
Of course.
Christian hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
And this one, too. Sorry.
He hands another document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews a string of text messages.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so you first met by email. You say you have one spot available for him as an internship, and then practically immediately thereafter, you say somebody's family is sick in the crew. You have a spot for him as an assistant director.
So, Your Honor.
I'm reading this. Well, you have to tell me what that means. I need a first AD. Someone's family is sick and they can't do it.
Correct.
So what is an AD?
He's basically going to assist me as a director, everything from...
Assistant to the director.
Correct.
Okay. Yes. I need a first AD. Someone's family is sick. So that's different from an internship.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I mean, we do have internships where people don't get paid, and then you have internships where they do get paid. Most people now pay their interns. Okay. And when you met, because clearly the last email that I just read suggests that you were approaching the door and you're 2 minutes away, and then you met the defendant. Tell me about that conversation.
Caption coming up.
The thing that I find most troubling here, actually, for the both of you, is he says that you told him not to tell the rest of the crew that he had COVID because they would freak out.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Christian and Juan.
Christian Sanchez claims filmmaker Juan Vasquez owes him for unpaid work. Juan says Christian was an unpaid intern.
Okay, and when you met, because clearly the last email that I just read suggests that you were approaching the door and you're 2 minutes away, and then you met the defendant. Tell me about that conversation.
So we met, we sat down. I kind of told him a little bit about my background, like I told you before. He kind of went over like what he was expecting me to do.
Just a second. I want you to tell me what he told you that he wanted you to do.
Managing the set, creating schedules, calling extras, making sure that they were there on time.
Is that what you told him?
Yes, basically assisting me whatever I needed.
Okay, that sounds like more than a PA.
We didn't ask for PAs. We didn't,
No, but what you outlined was clearly more. What did you agree to pay him?
Never agreed to pay him anything. So
Well, how could you do that?
he was an intern. He was presented to me as an intern.
No, not after this text message. He said he was looking for an internship, and you said to him, I have a better role for you. I need a first AD. Someone's family is sick. Whose family was sick? The name of the person.
I don't recall.
Okay. When you did a budget, did you have a budget for a first AD?
No, we didn't.
Careful. Did you have a budget for a first AD?
No, not that I remember. I usually don't use a first AD, so the terminology...
No. Listen, you know who produces this show? You want to be careful with what you say around people, you know, who are buying your product.
Sure.
Right? Because you're going to be presenting them with budgets, eventually, hopefully, for you. There's no question that if I got this text from you, Mr. Vasquez, I would say, oh my God, I'm going to get a different job, a better role, because he says I have a much better thing. Somebody who was supposed to do it got sick, they can't do it. That's a much different thing from what you describe as bringing me iced tea and setting up the coffee. That's a different role. What did he tell you he was going to pay you, sir?
He told me, verbally, he told me that...
Look, careful when you talk to me. At that meeting, that day, what did he tell you he was going to pay you?
$150 per day for 14 days.
How many days did you actually work on the set?
On the set, I worked 14 days.
It's a lie.
I got COVID on the last 2 days, and he asked me to work from home. And I still scheduled and did all that stuff.
I never asked him to work from home.
You got COVID the last 2 days, so you were actually there 12 days.
Physically there, but I was still working for him.
Who knows? How do I know that?
I have text.
I would like to see the work that you did from home on day 13 and 14.
1,800 for 12 days, not including...
Okay.
On those specific days, I have it on my phone. Could I pull it up?
No, I want to see what you did. If you did work, you sent emails out, you sent scheduling out, and you would probably have to have a conversation with your boss and say, I have COVID, but I'll do whatever I could do from home.
I have all of that.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if I may interject.
Yeah.
So he shows up to the set sick with COVID, gets everybody sick. I had to call the next day of filming because of that.
Are you talking about after he was there for 12 days?
Yes, I'm talking about that particular part, but...
I'm talking about he was there for 12 days. He didn't have COVID for 12 days.
We don't know that.
Well, who knows that? I don't know if you have COVID.
We just got tested, Your Honor.
Who knows if you have COVID? Who knows if I have COVID? All I know is I came to work today. I expect to be paid. I wouldn't come to work if I was sick and laying in bed and feeling nauseous and...
Your Honor, if you had a remote position, that'd be different. He didn't have a remote position.
I'm not talking about his 2 days. He was there 12 days.
He did it throughout the course of the project. He was never on time.
I don't care if he was never on time. If he was never on time, sir, then you fire him.
There was days he was not on set.
Listen to me.
Okay.
If he's never on time, then you tell him don't come back after the second day. But if you let him come for 12 days and do whatever he does, I mean, you know, Mr. Vasquez, I'm going to make this as painless for you as possible. There are some employees that I have had over the years that were terrific. Some not so terrific, some terrible. The terrible ones, who were really terrible, who I would have liked to have fired, period, I couldn't do it because of human resources.
Sure.
They have a whole protocol, volumes, like an Encyclopedia Britannica, what you have to go through to fire somebody who's not doing their job.
Right.
But you have to pay him until you can fire him. If you have him come to work, even if he's doing a terrible job, you still have to pay him. Now, if he goes home because he's sick and you're not giving him sick leave and you don't agree for him to work remotely, that's on him. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad. Unless, of course, you agree to have him work remotely. Then you have to pay him for 14 days.
Right.
It starts right there, Your Honor, and then the next 2 days follow it.
Kevin brings Christian's phone to Judy. She reviews a string of text messages.
JV, that's you?
Yes, ma'am.
JV, that's you. So you did, in fact, confer with him from home. Tell him to order food, to picking it up. I don't care if he worked for you for a half hour. He's not your friend. The thing that I find most troubling here, actually, for the both of you, is he says that you told him not to tell the rest of the crew that he had COVID because they would freak out.
Correct.
And he didn't tell the rest of the crew that he had COVID. Well, you told him not to. And he said, okay. Well, you have to know, as a good citizen, that's not the right thing to do. You do understand that.
And, you know, by not having him on the set, we thought that was proper protocol.
No, you're supposed to notify people who you came into close contact with. You know, I remember they had this whole contact tracing. I know people call all the time and say, you know, we were out together a month ago.
The set.
What?
The reality is, everybody that was on the set, we did discuss the fact that he had COVID, so people knew that.
I don't care whether people knew that. It says here, I won't say anything to the rest of the crew, like you said.
Yeah, because
I
didn't
understand
want to
that you don't want everyone to freak out. I just find that troubling. In any event,
it's just like yelling bomb in an airport. You know, that would have created a bigger hysteria.
Well, that's what COVID is. COVID is a bomb in an airport.
We conveyed to everybody on the set what was going on. The reality is, this man was presented as an intern, never said paid internship. Once he got on the set, he tried to strong-arm us, then demanded the money once he had all the information on the set. We didn't hire him. We didn't post a job for him. We made a job for him because a producer called me up. This is when nepotism goes bad. This kid couldn't even order pizza, Your Honor. He spent $300 at Domino's. Who spends $300 at Domino's?
Mr. Vasquez, then you fire him.
I should have
fired him. Do you
him.
understand?
I should have fired him.
Then your recourse is to fire him. And you're a little company that doesn't have an HR department. Say, you know what, what's your first name?
Christian.
Christian, you're a nice guy, but it's not working out here. I'm going to pay you for 3 days because that's what you were here. Don't come back. I'm going to get somebody else.
And you should have done that, Your Honor.
But that's what you should have done.
Yes.
But that's not what you did. You continued to use whatever limited services he provided, even when he was home with COVID.
Yes.
Even when he went home with COVID, you continued to ask him to do things for your company and for the film, and that you can't do without compensating him.
Caption coming up.
You gave him a job, and if he didn't work out, say, what was the name of that woman from that show that says you're fired or something?
The weakest link.
Weakest link, that was the lady. She was terrific. Well, anyway, you say you're fired. That's easy.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Christian and Juan.
Christian Sanchez has accused his former employer, Juan Vasquez, of not paying him for 14 days of work. Juan claims Christian was incompetent and never a paid employee.
Okay, even when he went home with COVID, you continued to ask him to do things for your company and for the film, and that you can't do without compensating him. You can't. Okay, so you owe him $2,100 because I assume you paid him nothing. Now, let's get to the second part of your claim, which is defamation. That I'd like to see. I mean, if you're going to be a producer, if you're going to make films, sir, you have to understand. Say you're not working out, you're fired. Something that I would love to be able to say a lot.
I agree.
Not
I
working
should
out,
have
you're
fired him
fired
right away.
without
Never-
risking my house and my car and my dog.
I was taking him on as a basically.
I don't care what you were thinking.
Producer
That's
called
not what
me,
you said.
Asked me to take him on. That's why I took him on.
He actually called me and told me how
Just
good
a
of a
second.
job I was doing.
It doesn't require an answer. Okay.
And I can show the messages how he came to be on the set. He was presented.
I don't care. Just a second. I don't care how he was presented to you. If your Aunt Tilly said, do me a favor, this is my godson.
It was his Aunt Tilly.
He hasn't been able to get a job since he graduated from college.
He hasn't made
He's home. He's home in the attic of his parents' house playing the
Lives with his
guitar.
parents.
We want him to have a job. It's irrelevant. You gave him a job. And if he didn't work out, say, what was the name of that woman from that show that says you're fired or something? Well, anyway, you say you're fired. That's easy. Do we remember the name of that woman from England who had a show where she said, you're out, get out? I don't know. She was terrific. Let me see.
The weakest link.
Weakest link. That was the lady. Perfect. Thank you.
And that's a direct text message to him that I never posted on social media.
Oh.
It was actually a group text.
Just a second. So, Mr. Vasquez, in here, you say to him, this is the second part of his case, which is for defamation. And that's okay. He didn't defame you.
Okay.
Sir, he said they're taking you out of the credits, but you were never promised credits.
In the contract, it says I am.
Let me see. We're in the contract that said you'd be in the credits. And I didn't even know there was a contract. I thought
He's
you had
also done this before.
Shh.
Kevin brings a document to Judy. She reviews it.
It says you employed him as an actor.
Your Honor, I'm signing actor agreements every day. He put that in front of me to sign. Why would I sign an actor agreement for a first AD?
Just a second. Sir, is this the agreement he put in front of you? Or did you?
I sign actor agreements every day on the.
You're a business guy.
Yeah.
I'm a business lady.
That looked like an
I
actor
don't
agreement.
sign
That's why I signed it.
actor agreement. That's what it says.
Yeah. He's not an actor.
Don't sign it. It says you agree to pay him $150 a day for 4 days of shooting.
14.
14 days of shooting. And that he will be responsible for paying all the taxes on it. So he was going to be paid in
I didn't write that out, Your Honor.
Kevin, would you show this to him, please, and see if he can identify that as his signature? I'm going to check here to see if it's his signature. It looks like his signature to me. Mr. Vasquez, it appears to be the same signature that you used to sign the answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that's your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And this says, actor shall receive a credit for acting in the film. Well, that's ridiculous. You didn't act in the film, right?
No, ma'am.
Well, we're going to strike that out because you can't perform that because you didn't act in the movie. Do you understand?
I understand, ma'am.
Okay, very good. And it's clear that whatever this says, based upon this, if you delete one part of a contract, let me see if I remember, if part of a contract, Sarah, is impossible to perform,
Then it's not fully integrated.
and one party acts on that contract, and you can retain part of the contract because of services that were rendered pursuant to the contract, you can eliminate one part.
Yes.
So I can eliminate the actor part of getting credit. So you're not getting credit on this. You're entitled to the $150 a day. As far as the defamation is concerned, sir, what he said in here was clear. He said he was told by someone else, which is very possible. And the only thing that you can produce for me today is this fellow who said you tried to put together a little bit of a drug transaction. Are you?
No.
Well, then you're irrelevant. You can produce, because if he says, told me, then he's not saying you did this. He put it in a text to you that
He
this
said
is
it
what
in
he was told.
retaliation whenever I served him the night before. The very next morning, he sent me that text message.
I don't care. I don't care. He's not a great businessman. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,100. Thank you very much. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Christian then won.
I thought she was very fair. I'm really, really happy with how the judgment came out.
He was an intern. Interns aren't paid. It never said paid internship.
He tried to avoid signing a contract at first.
The reality is, with a budget, we would love to pay the kid, but he cost us more money than he was actually worth.
He lies constantly. Nothing's ever his fault. He always makes up a new scenario in which he's the victim.
He couldn't even order pizza. I mean, who spends $300 at Domino's?
Handed me the actor's agreement, told me to sign it.
No more nepotism. If I don't know him, I haven't vetted him. I don't want them on the project.
A little bit weird, but it had everything.
And this kid is going to go be a cybersecurity guy.
Always save your receipts, dude. Always just keep any sort of communications, even if it's a phone call, send a text or an email that just recaps what you said.
I was so happy to vent for a moment on the current inability to fire inept people and to fire people who aren't doing their job, which has been getting worse over the last quarter of century. I actually believe that HR is a vital service for people who are unjustly, based on something other than their performance, treated badly by an employer. Mm-hmm. And harassment in the workplace, I think, is important. Anyway, I got that out of my system. The contract.
Yeah, the contract. I think it was unenforceable to begin because I think the form was clearly erroneous. It wasn't the proper form. He wasn't an actor. Both of them knew he wasn't an actor. Right. However, it was signed by both parties, and there was substantial performance on behalf of the plaintiff by showing up to work every day, performing his duties under the contract. So as soon as he substantially performed the contract, the defendant can't then claim it's unenforceable.
First of all, because he's not an actor.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
The Judy Justice logo appears.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
Credit.
Garcia is suing club promoter Herman Patine for a refund on concert tickets.
Court, come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2184, Garcia versus Pantene.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ms. Garcia, it is your claim that you purchased some concert tickets through the defendant. You paid him for them.
Correct.
And you didn't get them.
Correct.
He has some story about you going on the wrong day. Okay. How do you know him?
Through a mutual friend.
How long do you know him?
Since September, when this mutual friend actually introduced us, and we engaged in this kind of concert ticket purchase.
No, you're getting ahead of yourself. You met him through a mutual friend. How?
We went out to a club.
Who went out to a club?
Two of my girlfriends and LP.
Went with him?
Yes.
Well, then one of your girlfriends knew him. You had not met him before?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm an artist.
What kind of an artist?
Produce and sing.
You do that for a living for how long?
For 12 years.
You have family?
No, I'm by myself, yeah.
Who do you live with?
By myself and my dog.
Yourself and your dog?
Yeah, my dog, yeah.
What kind of a dog do you
have? I have a Jack Russell.
Okay. What do you know about securing tickets for concerts, music events? What do you know about it?
What do you mean by that? I don't understand
Well,
the
I
question.
know that if you're in the music business, let's say you want to go to a concert.
Okay.
You personally want to go to a concert with a friend.
Yeah.
How do you get the tickets?
It depends. You either push the ticket online if you want to pay the full price, or sometimes people have deal for ticket because they have in, and you get the ticket like that, and it's cheaper.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me, Ms. Garcia, exactly how you contacted the defendant and told him that you wanted concert tickets and what you wanted concert tickets to.
So I text LP and I asked him, hey, I heard that you had concert tickets. And he said he did. He's like, oh, I have 2 concert tickets.
2 concert tickets for what?
For the Bad Bunny concert for October 1st.
When I read your complaint and answer, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was. So I looked it up and was actually astounded to find out that he is a very uber popular rapper.
So we were very, very excited.
Okay. Did you tell the defendant what you wanted the tickets for?
Yes, I told him I was going to celebrate my birthday, and it was also going to be a gift to my sister, and then my girlfriend, whose birthday is in October.
And when is your birthday?
October 8th.
And did you tell him what date you wanted the tickets for?
He indicated that he had tickets for October 1st.
And he had 2 tickets for October 1st.
He at first had 2 tickets, and then later on said, oh, I have more tickets. And that's how I acquired 2 additional tickets.
Okay, so first you said he had 2 tickets for October 1st. Now, when she called you, you said, oh, I have 2 tickets. That's what she says.
Okay.
I have 2 tickets. Where did you get those 2 tickets from?
From someone who's close to the artist.
Give me the name.
Oh, his name is Clint.
Last name.
I don't know. I only see him in the club. I get tickets from him all the time.
Clint from what club?
He promotes everywhere. Like he goes.
No, you said to me you got them from him at a club. I'm asking you what club.
Well,
Your Honor,
the name.
Actually, he had indicated that those were boxy tickets, and it was the owner of the boxy tickets that he was acquiring those tickets
Oh,
from.
I never said that.
The 2 tickets?
Oh, no,
Yes.
I never said
The
that.
2?
Yes.
I never said that. No.
I want you to tell me when she called you, how come you had 2 tickets for the concert that she wanted to go to? Were you going to go yourself?
The truth is, I always go to stuff like that because I have access to those tickets. Again, even if it's for sport or basketball, I always have access to those type of tickets.
So you have access to them?
Yes.
But she said that you told her you had 2 tickets.
When I say access, if I request it, I know where to find it. So when her friend told me that, I said, yes, I can have access to those type of tickets. So maybe my language doesn't help with my grammar.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so
That's
yes,
true. Maybe,
sorry for that.
Maybe it's problematic. It could be a little bit of my hearing, but it's also a little bit of your accent.
Yes, I have an accent.
Sometimes people don't understand my accent because I was born in Brooklyn, and they say to me, "What? We don't understand you." I understand that, but you understand that sometimes people could not.
If they misunderstand.
Right.
That's true.
Okay. But she told you she wanted the tickets for October 1st. There's no question she wanted to go on October 1st because she says in her complaint that she also booked a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
What hotel?
It was the Sheraton.
Where is the Sheraton located?
It's by LAX.
Where do you live?
Norwalk.
Norwalk is where?
Approximately 15 miles east of LAX off the 105.
Okay, so you wanted to stay over for the concert?
Yes. So just one correction, that my cousin was the one that paid for the stay.
And the hotel was taken for one night, and was that the night of October 1st?
Yes.
For October 1st, the night of the concert.
Mm-hmm. So all the girls were going to get together that night, have a little pre-celebration. We were going to Uber to the concert. We didn't want to drink and drive. So when we got to the concert, we would get another Uber and then come back. We just wanted to be safe.
When did Mr. Patine tell you that he got extra tickets? First, he said he had 2.
Mm-hmm. And
Did he tell you how much the 2 tickets were?
Yes, he indicated $150 each ticket. Mm-hmm.
How much did you pay for them, sir?
Basically, give the.
Not basically.
Huh?
Not
No,
basically.
sorry,
How much? There's this question.
It was 150.
So you are telling me that you didn't make any money?
No, because I was friend with her friend. So I was just trying to be nice for her birthday. So no, I wasn't making any money on that. I will charge more for those tickets if I want to make money. For the price of it, I will pay way more than that.
Well, so far. Then you got 4 more tickets.
Correct.
But you never saw the tickets.
Correct.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
They were in LA partying with us on the 2nd. We all drank, we partied, we went to a club. He felt bad for him and got a bottle service, and I
No,
have
you
on
didn't.
video.
No, he didn't.
Just
He
a
got
second.
bottle
Video.
Just a
service,
second.
But
I
it
have on
wasn't from
video.
him.
I have on video.
I have on video.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the deal.
Don't speak.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Gigi and Herman.
Gigi Garcia claims club promoter Herman Patine owes her a refund for Bad Bunny concert tickets.
Did you ask the defendant to send you a copy of the tickets?
I did on September
Just a sec.
16th.
On what date?
September 16th.
Do you have an email to that effect?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
And just so you know, there were 2 tour dates in Inglewood at the SoFi Stadium for Bad Bunny on both September 30th as well as October 1st.
Do you know how much he made, according to what I read yesterday? In his touring for the whole of the year, I read that his tour concert in 2022 was almost $400 million. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's the number one.
Almost
It's the number
$400
one now.
million.
Pretty darn close.
That's what I read. I was astounded. Since I know Frank Sinatra is no longer with us, and there isn't anybody else that I would pay that kind of money to go and see.
Whitney smiles. Judy examines a photocopy of a text exchange between Gigi and Herman.
Okay, so you're in the music business and you have email?
Huh?
Is that right? You have an email? You have an email?
Yes, I have an
You
email.
have an iPhone?
Yes.
She asked you if you could send her copies of the tickets.
Okay.
Why didn't you send them?
Because I didn't have it at that time. I always
Oh,
received
just a
it.
second.
Yes.
Because I didn't have them. That was September 16th. On what date did you get them and from whom?
I paid for the ticket on the Monday before the concert. The guy came to pick up the money on Monday night.
When the guy came to pick up the money Monday night before the event, did he give you the tickets?
Not right away, because he never do that. He always send me that after to my wallet on the...
Now I don't understand a word you're saying.
The wallet, when I received the ticket...
You gave him the money. She sent you the money. How much money did she give you?
I was like 2,000.
How much money did you give him?
So the full amount was $1,215.
That's not how much she gave me, by the way.
No.
Just a minute. She's only suing for $715.
Yeah, so there were two other young ladies that also purchased, and I'm not including them in my case.
So this
just
is
mine, just what I paid.
You paid $715.
Correct.
He got more money for the tickets, but you just paid him $715.
Yeah. So these were for 6 tickets. 5 tickets for $150, 1 ticket for $165.
Okay. How did you communicate with the one person who you gave the tickets to? How did you communicate with that person?
Phone. I call him.
Through the phone?
Yeah, I call him.
Phone. So you have his name on your phone?
Yes.
Have you seen him since October?
He disappeared for a while. After that.
Just a second. He disappeared for a while after you say that you gave him the money.
I was in contact with them and her friend. I gave her the number because I couldn't reach out to him. And
second, that sounds like a lot of who shot John. You were able to reach out to him when you wanted to give him money, allegedly, but then he disappeared.
Basically,
just a second, is he still disappeared?
No, he's still not disappeared. But
well, where is he now?
I don't know. I haven't spoken with him.
Since when?
Since maybe like December.
Why?
Because I have nothing to tell him. She sued me. So
well, just a second.
Yeah.
What did you tell him about the tickets?
He said we made a mistake on the day. It was for Friday, and they went to for Saturday. So on that, he got mixed up, and I get blamed for that. That's not fair.
Absolutely. She didn't deal with Clint. She dealt with you.
But this is why I give them the number, so they can call him directly. I did that.
But the deal was not with him. It was with you.
You don't have to answer.
Sorry.
But
you don't have to answer.
Actually, they talked to him directly.
She doesn't want to talk to him directly. She didn't deal with...
I wasn't even talking to her.
She didn't deal...
I wasn't talking to her. Her friend was talking to him directly. That's what I said.
Did she get money back from him directly?
I didn't get any money.
Just a second.
No, I'm mad. I'll be blamed for something I do. And even that, I give some half of the money back to her because I feel bad about the situation.
Just a second. When did you give her back half the money?
I think 2 weeks after.
Just a second. Did he give you back any money?
He gave us $500 out of 8.
Just a second. I don't care. He gave you back $500 because he felt badly.
And it was her birthday, and they were harassing me.
Did you give her the $500 directly?
No, because I wasn't.
No. Who did you give the $500?
To her friend, because I wasn't talking to her.
To a friend?
To her friend, because I wasn't talking to her.
Just a second. Your friend only, you said, paid for 2 tickets. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 tickets at most could have been $300.
Correct.
Did your friend give you back $200?
She did.
Okay.
So I am requesting the remainder, which is $715. And that's what we had texted him on October 10th. We had asked him to pay the full amount. This is the text where...
I want to see what he said to you.
No, he did not respond to me.
He did not?
Mm-mm.
Can I tell why?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because her friend was starting threatening me, sending crazy message texts when we used to be friends, and it could be resolved another way. And when you start sending me lawyer crazy email, I'm not answering. So I say, do what you got to do, and that's it.
I mean, if you would have responded.
Just a second. So if there was a mix-up, that was a mix-up that was not her mix-up because she clearly made it her business to book a room in order to go to the October 1st concert. So that was clear. It wasn't just going to the concert. It was going to be a whole evening. What do you want, and who are you?
I'm a witness to it all.
And he speaks better than me, so this is why I would like him to come, so that it might be easier for me.
Your Honor, my name's Imad. How are you? She said she booked a hotel for the 1st, but they were in LA partying with us on the 2nd because we all met up at his house. We all drank, we partied, we went to a club. He felt bad for him and got a bottle service, and I have on video.
No, he didn't.
Just
he
a
got
second.
bottle
Just a second.
But it wasn't from him.
I have on video.
I have on video because that's what we do.
Feel bad.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the deal.
Speak. Sorry.
We have on video of them all partying with us on the 2nd. So they only.
So on the 2nd, by this time you knew you weren't going to the concert.
Yeah, I was expecting my money that night.
What?
I was expecting my money. Like, there was a mix-up. Okay, now where's our money? So we met up. They told me, hey, you know what? LP feels really bad. There was a mistake. I'm like, okay, cool. But where's my money? Because I got to pay my cousin, my sister. I got to pay my friends. I have that responsibility. They entrusted me with money, and therefore I had that responsibility. They're not going to come after him.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
The tickets were for Friday night, sir. And you say you went there on Friday night.
No, you get it confused on that. I wasn't going to the concert.
No, to give them the tickets. How are they supposed to get the tickets?
How do I know that? I have other stuff to do.
Just a second. Stop. I'm going to use him as a translator.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Gigi and Herman.
Gigi Garcia is accusing club promoter Herman Petit of purchasing Bad Bunny concert tickets for the wrong day.
Where is Clint? Speak. Where is Clint? I thought you were a witness to everything.
I met him when he was giving him the money. We were at his house
Just a
having
second.
drinks.
Okay, so let's slow down a second, because you said I'm a witness to everything and I speak better than he does.
Yeah, sometimes.
So the Monday before the concert.
Correct.
You were with Clint.
I was with LP. I was with him. We were at his apartment watching Monday Night Football.
And Clint was there.
No, he called him, and then he asked me to come down with him. We went downstairs, and I never met the guy, and he gave him some money.
No, just a second.
Yeah.
So you were with him.
Yeah.
When he went downstairs and met Clint.
Correct.
Okay. And when he handed Clint the money, how much money did he hand him?
I couldn't tell you because I wasn't
that
really
close.
I was next to him, but I was on my phone, and I asked him after the fact. I was like,
what did he... Let's go back. So now you're upstairs watching Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And does he get a call from Clint, or does he call Clint?
He was calling him earlier.
Okay, so he was calling Clint earlier.
Yeah.
And when he went down and gave him the money, did Clint give him anything?
No, he didn't.
Well, then what was the discussion that he had?
From what I heard was he...
Don't make it up as you're going along.
No.
Don't make it up. It's very bad. It's very bad if you make things up.
No.
Okay, so if you either you heard it or you didn't.
He gave him the money, and I guess it was for the tickets, because he was telling me earlier that he was getting somebody's tickets. And I'm like, I've never met her before or her friends until the night of when we all went to the club, because I was at his house. Yeah. We were drinking, her friends came over and everything that was supposed to
And it was at that time, was that the time that he gave them back $500?
No, I don't know about that.
When did you give them back $500?
I think 2 weeks after, I can check if you want to tell the exact date. But I think 2 weeks after, and again, I did that out of my kindness. I don't want to give anything because that's not my fault. But I'm like, I feel bad. They were on me. I'm like, you know what? Here's something. He's a jester. That's what I can do. And even that, I was even willing to work with them. And I told her.
Yeah, I don't think it was their mistake, by the way.
Huh?
I don't think it was their mistake. They were girls going out to celebrate. They'd planned a whole evening and day of going out to celebrate. They got to the concert. You weren't there on the first, because it's your claim that they got the date confused, that they were supposed to go Friday night, the 30th. That's what you say. You were there Friday night.
We're there.
Well, if the tickets were for Friday night, sir, which is what you claim, and you say you went there on Friday night.
Went where?
To the concert, to give them the tickets.
No, you get confused on that. I wasn't going to the concert.
No, to give them the tickets. How are they supposed to get the tickets?
How do I know that? I have other stuff to do.
Just a second. How are they supposed to... Hey, stop. I'm going to use him as a translator.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No. You hadn't sent them the tickets on the day of the concert. According to your answer, sir, on the day of the concert, which was on September 30th, which would have been what was on the tickets, I waited for Gigi and her friends, but they never showed up. Pay attention to me. So if you went there on Friday to give them the tickets, that's what you say.
I'm talking about my house. How
I'm reading to you what you swore to and what you signed in an answer. You say you're in a business for 12 years.
But I don't have people work for me. Listen to me.
For me on that. Listen to me. Then you should have shown them your answer. What you said in your answer was...
Okay, my bad. Mistake that.
Not my bad. On the day of the concert, I waited for Gigi and her friends to come and get their tickets, but they never showed up. The next day, I finally got on the phone with Gigi. Now, did she call you or did you call her?
I called her friend in the morning at like maybe 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. There's a mistake. I called her friend.
Okay, so you called her friend. Now, if you got there and they weren't there, you had her friend's, you had her friend's number, right?
It's not that.
You said I have...
It's not, that's not what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is I just read you what you wrote.
No, but I try to explain you. I wasn't at the concert visit, even on the Saturday, for the ticket.
How was she supposed to get the ticket?
She come to my house, and that's it.
Okay, $715, judgment for the plaintiff. I think you're full of baloney.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Gigi, then Herman.
I thought that was really fair. I mean, when you enter a verbal contract with someone, you expect them to uphold their side of the deal. If they don't, then they have to give you your money back.
That's her problem, not mine. And I give something just out of my kindness. She should just take that. Asia wasn't the bad person on that.
That same night, he had indicated that he felt really bad, yada, yada, yada. And we thought, hey, it's legit. We're going to get our money back that night. And he's like, oh, let's meet up at this club or at this, it was a restaurant, then club. And it was...
I wouldn't be partying with somebody that just screwed me out of tickets.
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense. It's like if somebody screws you out of money, you gonna go party with them? Highly doubtful.
It doesn't matter. That wasn't part of the deal. The deal was concert tickets for this amount of money. No concert tickets, I get my money back. Plain and simple.
Yes, over. For a favor for friends, yeah.
Judy and Sarah.
So we're having this discussion, you and I interpreted that sentence as he waited for them at the concert to give him the tickets. You point out that that sentence could also be interpreted, I waited at my house for them to come and pick up the tickets. Either way, Sarah, the right thing to do is if you've got $1,000 of somebody's money, because there's no question that this guy took a vig for himself, and if they don't come, and if your friend is a friend of hers, then you call at 5 o'clock at night and say, I have your tickets here. Yeah. Where are you? He doesn't. The next day, he calls his friend and says, you got the dates mixed up. Yeah. Instead of calling at 4 o'clock. So either way, to me, it doesn't make any difference.
I agree with your final ruling. If he was sitting on the $1,000 that he had and tickets that he knew were for the wrong day, the friend deserved to call that day in the morning.
Or maybe he didn't have any.
Or maybe he didn't have any tickets. I'm not disagreeing. I just think that one point you hung your hat on about either being at the concert or being at home was sort of a minuscule point if he didn't have the tickets at all.
Yeah, and I don't think he had the tickets at all.
I agree.
If he did have the tickets, one way or another, he would have called their mutual friend and said, I have these tickets here. They're $1,000. They're $1,000 worth of tickets. It's a good excuse to say they wanted to come for them on a wrong date. Yeah, hustle.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to judyjustice.tv.
সামনের স্কোয়াডটাই মনে হচ্ছে কারণ এদের সাথে চরম ফাইট নিতেছে
না সামনের স্কোয়াডে বানিয়ে বলবো
এই আমার মেসেজে জিম কোডটা আমার দেন তো ভাই আমি অন্য একটা আইডি দিতেছি
কোনটা ওরে ফাইট হচ্ছে করা ফাইট যাও ফাইট নাও রোস্টেড আবার এনে বসে আছো
স্টেডাইন নাই